call the Senate to order. Sergeant at Arms will please secure the chamber doors. Members, please take your seats. Appears we only have one of our three chairs here today. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Mr. President.
All right, Senators, we are very pleased today on this very balmy and hot April 8th to have our very own Senator Johnny Ray Salling, who will give us the invocation today. Please rise for that invocation.
Thank you, Mr. President. Let's all bow our heads. Dear Heavenly Father, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob, thank you for this day and for the days that you've given us already. You have blessed us and guided us through each day and every moment and every decision that we have made. May we remember that you and your will needs to be done, not our will. And may we remember that it is because of you that we are a blessed people. We thank you for the love that you've given us first. We thank you for being with us and our families, whether we're at home or whether we're here. Most importantly, we thank you for your unconditional love. Please continue to guide us these next few days and help us to remember that compassion never fails and that we always have a place as our faith in one and only one true living God. I pray that you be with every person, every leader in this nation, in this world. We thank you for the peace that passes all understanding that comes from you. Just be with us this day. And we all ask this in your holy and reverent and righteous name. Amen.
Mr. President,
Recognize Senator from District 1.
I ask that we journalize the good senator from District 6 prayer today. Please, sir.
Without objection, most certainly we will journalize the invocation and appreciate the senator filling in for us today and for his thoughtful remarks. Has everyone recorded their presence? Almost. Slowly but surely. All right, the clerk will take the call. With 37 members in the chamber and a quorum being present, the Senate of Maryland is now again in session. Let's see, do we have any introductions? Yes, recognize the Senator from Baltimore County.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Today's doctor of the day, Dr. Russell Wright, is from District 11. Really happy to welcome him here. He's a retired ENT physician, retired colonel in the U.S. Army and National Guard, and he is the past president of MedChi. Welcome. Thank you.
Welcome back. Great to see you. Excellent. Senator from Howard County.
Thank you, Mr. President. Colleagues, where would we be without our interns? While they're still students, we rely on their energy, their tenacity, and fresh perspectives to help us fill the gaps. And today I'd like to recognize one of my best, Victoria Boger. She is a senior at the University of Maryland, College Park, where she is double majoring in history and international relations with a minor in global terrorism. This is her third session with my office, and we are deeply grateful for all the work she has contributed over the past 3 years. And so today I want to recognize Victoria and truly all of the interns across the General Assembly who help us with this really important and sometimes demanding job. Let's give her a warm Senate welcome.
Welcome. Excellent. Let's do Senator from Anne Arundel, and then we'll go to the Senator from the 37th.
Thank you, Mr. President. I understand that there is a group here from the Severn School up in the gallery. If they could just please go ahead and stand and give them a round of applause and welcome them.
Welcome.
Thank you. We appreciate you being here today. Thank you.
Excellent. Yes, recognize the co-chair of the Protocol Committee.
There's not protocol.
Introduction.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have a personal guest here in the Senate floor with us, standing in for my daughter. This is not my daughter. This is Claire Miller. Claire with St. Peter and Paul is the daughter of Megan and Brad Miller. Megan, who is with the Republican caucus. Claire, could you stand up? She's on spring break from St. Peter and Paul and wanted to come up here and experience firsthand the Senate of Maryland. So welcome, Claire. We're happy to have you.
Wonderful. Welcome. Welcome, welcome. Enjoy today. Very good. Let's see. Yes, Senator from Baltimore County.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Could I have the Joint Ethics Committee come off the floor and meet us in the Red Room?
Before we do that, just for one quick second, if we could, just one very quick second. Let's go to the protocol, co-chair.
I thank you, Mr. President. And colleagues, as a co-chair of the Protocol Committee, I've tried really hard. This has been a great honor. However, yesterday I fell short. We had a very long session. Things wrapped up, and we scooted on. We had a lot of hearings and things, but we missed a really important announcement. And permission to use the senator's name.
Senator may certainly proceed.
From the bottom of my heart, colleagues, I want to extend the warmest, grandest birthday wishes, which occurred yesterday, to our colleague, Senator Chris West. Chris, happy birthday. I wish, yes, absolutely. And hard-earned, sir, hard-earned, yes.
Thank you, Senator. We just wanted to extend it into 2 days. That was the objective. We didn't want you to, to be over. Extend it. Yes, the Ethics Committee to the Silver Room across the hall, please. Thank you. All right. Do we have any further guests? Sirs, we will be today joined by the ambassador from Romania, who's going to join us on the floor and give just a couple of very, very short, brief remarks. We'll be here shortly. So we will pause once we get to that point, and so that we can have him come and say hello. Certainly an interesting period in the world right now, so we want to certainly keep our close ties to our European partners. Do we have any further guests before we jump into things? If not, today is going to be sort of the wheat from the chaff day. We have a lot of second readers. So to the degree feasible, if we could potentially start to see, some of them are going to be pretty easy, some of them may not be. If we can start to maybe special order some that are going to need extended debate so that we can at least see what we can get through, and then what's going to be, start to get an idea. So to the degree feasible, this morning, at least for the morning session, if we can kind of focus in on seeing what is going to be easier than others. Before we keep going, I've stalled quite long enough. I'd like to recognize the Vice Chair of the Budget and Tax Committee, Senator from College Park.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. I'm really very pleased today to be able to welcome, and I would like to give all of us to give a warm Senate welcome to the Romanian Ambassador to the United States, Dr. Andrei Moraru, and Minister Counsel Florescu, who is with us today. Would you stand and just be recognized so people see who you are? The ambassador is going to make some short remarks, but before he does, I want to do a little introduction of him and a little introduction of Romania. As you all know, I had the honor of serving as our ambassador to Romania under President Clinton, and I learned a lot. Romania is the fourth largest former communist country in the world. Today, it's a member of NATO and of the NATO alliance. In the past 20 years, the standard of living of its people has grown faster than any other country in the European Union. Dr. Moraru is a distinguished historian, expert on the communist crimes in Romania, and before he became ambassador to the United States, he was senior advisor to the president of Romania. He's done many good things here for his country and for our country in our alliance since he's been ambassador. One of the things he pledged to do, and I remember vividly the first time I was with him when he came to the United States, he said, I'm going to visit all 50 states. Now, when I was in Romania, I visited all the provinces in Romania, but there are a lot more states, and it's a much physically bigger country than Romania is. And so he has come here today and tomorrow to visit with us, to visit with the governor, to visit with business leaders, to visit the Naval Academy, to visit with the mayor of Annapolis. And I just want to say he's doing a great job for his country, but as importantly, and frankly, importantly for us, Romania is a great ally of the United States. And we all know what's going on in the world right now. And we all know that there's some who think the NATO alliance is not important to the United States. Well, I can tell you the people of Romania understand that NATO is important to them, important to the world, and important to us. So with that, after the ambassador makes a few remarks, and at the appropriate time, when we have a chance, he's going to be in the lounge, and there's several members who would like to meet with him, and at the appropriate time, we'll give the opportunity to do that. So with that, thank you for coming today, Mr. Ambassador and Ms. Florescu. Back to you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Senator. Mr. Ambassador, please, if you'd like to join me up here on the dais to address the chamber, please. Welcome. Thank you for being here. Thank you. All yours. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you all for being here, and thank you for having me. It's a great honor and a privilege to be here and to speak on behalf of my country. It was a privilege from the very beginning to meet Ambassador Rosapep, one of the greatest American friends of our country. And I would like to brief you about what we do here. So Maryland is the 43rd state that I visit here in the United States. And I just want to let you know, distinguished members of this assembly, that if you want to understand Romania without leaving Maryland, you don't need a plane ticket. Just a short ride, a short drive to Rockville, Bethesda, or Baltimore. There you'll meet Romanian doctors, entrepreneurs, engineers, people who came here for opportunity, and people who stayed because they found a community. And that is where our relationship and friendship truly begins, with people. Maryland is for Romania a model of a modern, knowledge-driven economy where government, research, and innovation work together to create, of course, real impact. Romania comes from a different trajectory, but one that is moving fast. In one generation, our economy has grown tenfold. Since joining the European Union, it has nearly quadrupled. Today, Romania is the largest natural gas producer in the European Union, a fast-growing technology hub, and the key strategic actor on NATO's eastern flank. We host the largest, it's a work in progress, construction NATO base in Europe. But what defines our partnership is not just growth, it is alignment. For nearly 30 years, Romania and the United States have built a strategic partnership that started under the leadership of Ambassador Rosapep. I would like to give him a round of applause for this tremendous achievement. So under Ambassador Rosapep, we started this strategic alliance, strategic partnership in 1997 between Romania and the United States, and based on shared values, security, and economic cooperation. The United States is now the fourth largest investor in Romania and is the main partner in defense, with over 70% of our acquisitions from American companies, including a $7 billion F-35 program. In energy, we are working together on major projects like small modular reactor, the first of its kind built outside the United States, to expanding LNG access across Europe. In a region facing serious challenges, Romania remains a stable and reliable ally. We are committed to Ukraine's sovereignty. We share the longest border with Ukraine of any NATO and EU members, and to a transatlantic unity. So where does Maryland fit? Very naturally. Because if Maryland represents excellence in innovation, Romania offers scale, growth, and strategic positioning. If I may put it simply, Maryland represents excellence at the top, Romania represents momentum on the rise. And partnerships like ours work best when excellence meets momentum. Let me close with this, ladies and gentlemen. Romania don't just adapt, they quietly raise the bar. Sometimes in research labs, sometimes in hospitals, and occasionally in your restaurants. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Pleasure, truly
Thank you,
an
sir.
honor. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, sir.
Yes. We thank you greatly for being here with us, and thank you for your thoughtful remarks. We agree. On the top and on the rise, we always take that partnership seriously. So thank you very much. Yes, at Recognized Center.
Yeah, Mr. President, I'd like the ambassador's remarks to be journalized.
Without objection, certainly we will journalize the remarks.
And second, I'd like to make a second introduction. We have with us today former delegate Michael Burns, who visited Romania when I was there and has come to see the ambassador. Welcome.
Welcome, welcome. From another experienced Romanian visitor,
Yes.
the senator from District 7.
I just want to give a quick shout out. Mr. Ambassador, last year, I'm a member of Maryland Air National Guard, and Maryland Air National Guard was in your country last year. You hosted us for what was called Defender 26, big training, NATO training mission. You were very welcoming. We took about 70 of our troops over there, airmen, actually. We actually did have Army also, so we did have troops. We were in Bucharest. We went up to the Carpathian Mountains, beautiful up there, and then we're down in Constanza, down there on the Black Sea, beautiful country. But you were a great host. Worked very closely with your Army and created a great union between us. And I just appreciate being such a good host for us. So thank you.
Excellent. Well, thank you for those remarks, and thanks for your service, of course, Senator. Thank you. All right, well, we are going to jump into the work. If there are those, we're going to do second readers, so if there's any folks who would like to speak with the ambassador, they will exit into the lounge, and so they will be there for a few minutes if folks want to have conversations. But we appreciate you being here with us. Thank you again. Enjoy the rest of your state visits as well. Yes. All right. We are going to start today with the Committee on Finance, so be considered the reading of the journal from the prior legislative day. We've got a lot of second readers, so we're going to be... it's an all-day finance day. Let's go ahead and read the first bill for report number 45.
Senate Bill 39, Senator Lamb, Behavioral Health, Certified Community Behavioral Health Clinics, and Outpatient Mental Health Centers reimbursement rates, favorable with 2 amendments.
Recognizing Senator from District 12 as the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. Senate Bill 39 is identical to House Bill 772. This bill establishes the work group on behavioral health rate methodology modernization in the Maryland Healthcare Commission to develop transparent cost-based reimbursement methodologies for certified community behavioral health clinics, outpatient mental health centers, and independent outpatient providers. The bill alters the behavioral health rate setting study required under chapters 571, 572 of 2017 by requiring the Department of Health, rather than the Behavioral Health Administration and the Medical Health Programs Administration, to conduct the study by June 30th, 2028 as specified. The bill does not, number one, require an immediate rate increase. It does not, number two, mandate an appropriation. And three, it does not create a fiscal obligation in the absence of a subsequent legislative or budgetary action. There are 2 amendments. The first amendment is technical. The second amendment alters the membership duties and reporting dates of the work group. And for the existing rate study, number one, it requires MDH rather than the BHA and the Medical Care Programs Administration to conduct the study. Number two, it requires MDH to review and implement recommendations of the work group and implement tools and oversee submissions to support the study. Number three, it requires the Maryland Healthcare Commission to assist MDH with the facilitation of the study. 4, it tasks BHA and the Medical Care Programs Administration to develop and implement a payment system implementing the findings of the study. And number 5, it alters dates for the study completion and requirements for the report. Move the adoption of the 2 committee amendments and the favorable committee report.
Floor leader moves the adoption of the 2 committee amendments and the favorable committee report. On the amendments, any discussion? Any objections? Without objection, the 2 committee amendments are adopted. On the report, any discussion? Any objections? Without objection, the amended report is adopted. Are there any further amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, Senate Bill 39 is ordered printed for third reading. Clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 605, Senator M. Washington, Public Service Commission Broadband and Voice over Internet Protocol Service Oversight, favorable 2 amendments.
Recognizing the senator from the 22nd as the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. This bill as amended is identical to the House Bill 1037 in general. The bill requires the Public Service Commission to conduct a study and make recommendations regarding the potential scope, structure, and implementation of commission oversight for broadband service and voice over internet protocol service in a state. The commission must report its findings and recommendations to the General Assembly by later this year. The amendments are technical, and the other amendment just strikes the bill entirely and turns it into a study.
All right.
Move the favorable report and adoption of the amendments.
Floor leader moves for the adoption of the two committee amendments and the favorable committee report. On the amendments, any discussion? Any objections? Without objection, the two committee amendments are adopted. Question now is on the amended report. Any discussion? Any objections? Without objection, the amended report is adopted. Are there any further amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, Senate Bill 605 is ordered printed for third reading. Clerk, read the next bill.
Senate Bill 721, Senator Waldstreicher, Developmental Disabilities Administration Services, Eligibility for Recently Relocated Individuals, Ralphs Act, favorable with two amendments.
Recognized senator from Montgomery County is the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. Senate Bill 721, as amended, is identical to House Bill 1015. The bill requires the Department of Health to provide an individual with an expedited Medicaid eligibility determination for DDA services, including a disability determination for purposes of enrollment in a specified waiver program if the individual is a dependent of an immediate family member, receives certain services in another state for the immediately preceding 10 years, and moved to this state to live with an immediate family member on the death or incapacitation of the individual's caretaker in the other state. Amendment 1 is technical. Amendment 2 establishes definitions, strikes provisions requiring the department to place an individual who falls under the bill immediately into waiver services. There is no fiscal impact. Mr. President, I move the amendments and the adoption of the favorable committee report.
Floor leader moves for the adoption of the two committee amendments and the favorable committee report. On the amendments, any discussion? Any objections? Without objection, the two committee amendments are adopted. Question now on the amended report. Any discussion? Any objections? Without objection, the amended report is adopted. Are there any further amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, Senate Bill 721 is hereby ordered printed for third reading. Clerk, read the next bill.
Senate Bill 891, Senator Guile, Health Insurance and Health Occupations, Perinatal Mental Health Conditions, favorable with two amendments.
Recognizing the bill sponsor is the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. As amended, Senate Bill 891 is identical to House Bill 1118. The bill requires certain health care providers to screen for perinatal behavioral health conditions. Certain carriers, as well as Medicaid, must provide coverage for such screenings. The bill alters existing requirements on the Department of Health to identify written information about perinatal mood and anxiety disorders and requires certain healthcare providers and hospitals to provide certain information to patients. MDH must identify and develop training programs that improve early identification of perinatal behavioral health conditions. The bill also requires a carrier to provide a certain standing referral, requires certain health occupation boards to grant continuing education credits for perinatal behavioral health condition training, and imposes a study and reporting requirements on MHCC. Amendment 1 is technical. Amendment 2 requires Medicaid to provide coverage as described, alters the definition of perinatal behavioral health condition, makes the coverage requirement for carriers consistent with the requirement for Medicaid, strikes language that required MDH to develop screening program, and makes other changes. I move the amendments and adoption of the favorable committee report.
Floor leader moves for the adoption of the two committee amendments and the favorable committee report. On the amendments, any discussion? Any objections? Without objection, the two committee amendments are adopted. Question now on the amended report. Any discussion? Any objections? Without objection, the amended report is adopted. Are there any further amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, Senate Bill 891 is hereby ordered printed for third reading. Let's go to Report 47. Clerk will read the first bill.
House Bill 427, Delegate Gazone, Task Force on Responsible Use of Natural Psychedelic Substances, extension, favorable two amendments.
Recognizing the senator from District 8.
Apologies, Mr. President. House Bill 8. Oh, wrong one. Sorry. House Bill 427 extends the task force on responsible use of natural psychedelic substances for an additional year and requires the task force to submit an updated report of its findings and recommendations to the governor and the General Assembly by October 31st, 2026. There are two amendments. The first amendment is technical. The second amendment adds a representative of a historically black college or university in the state to the task force. As amended, the bill is identical to the Senate Bill 336, which passed the Senate earlier this session. I move the amendments and the adoption of the favorable committee report.
Floor Leader moves for the adoption of the two committee amendments and the favorable committee report. On the amendments, any discussion? Any objections? Without objection, the two committee amendments are adopted. Question now on the amended report. Any discussion? Any objections? Without objection, the amended report is adopted. Are there any further amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, House Bill 427 is ordered passed for third reading. Clerk, read the next bill.
House Bill 480, Delegate Fennell, Transportation Network Companies, deactivation of operators, favorable.
Recognize the Senator from Montgomery County as the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. Colleagues, House Bill 480 is identical to Senate Bill 740, which passed the Senate unanimously. The bill requires a transportation network company to maintain and apply a written deactivation policy. There are no amendments. There's no fiscal impact. I move the adoption of the favorable committee report.
Floor leader moves for the adoption of the favorable committee report. Any discussion? Any objections? Without objection, the favorable committee report is adopted. Are there any amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, House Bill 480 is hereby ordered passed for third reading. Clerk, read the next bill.
House Bill 532, Delegate Solomon, Employment Standards, Firefighters, Payment of Wages, and Payroll Information, favorable.
Recognize the Senator from Montgomery County as the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. Colleagues, House Bill 532 is identical to Senate Bill 445, which passed the Senate earlier this session. The bill requires a governmental unit that employs a firefighter to pay overtime wages for each hour over 168 hours that a firefighter works during a 28-day work period. There are no amendments. I move the adoption of the favorable committee report.
Floor leader moves for the adoption of the favorable committee report. Any discussion? Any objections? Without objection, the favorable committee report is adopted. Are there any amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, House Bill 532 is hereby ordered passed for third reading. Clerk, read the next bill.
House Bill 816, Delegate Taylor, Maryland Automobile Insurance Fund Affordability Program and Industry Automotive Insurance Associate Assessments, favorable.
Recognize the Vice Chair of the committee as the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. House Bill 816 is identical to the Senate Bill 469, which passed the Senate unanimously. The bill reduces from 3% to 1% the cap on the assessment allocation percentage for the private passenger auto division that the Maryland Automobile Insurance Fund is authorized to issue against other motor vehicle insurers in the state. As specified, the bill also authorizes MAVE to implement an affordability program for its policyholders and establishes related requirements for MAVE and the Maryland Insurance Administration. The bill takes effect July 1st, 2027 and terminates on June 3rd, 2029. There are no amendments. I move the adoption of favorable committee report.
Floor leader moves for the adoption of the favorable committee report. Any discussion? Any objections? Without objection, the favorable committee report is adopted. Are there any amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, House Bill 816 is hereby ordered passed for third reading. Clerk, read the next bill.
House Bill 829, Delegate Ebersol, Public Utilities for Hire Drivers and Transportation Network Operators, Human Trafficking Awareness and Prevention Training and Liability, favorable, one amendment.
Recognize the Senator from the 37th District.
Thank you, Mr. President. House Bill 829 requires an applicant for a local taxi cab driver's license or state for-hire driver's license to include in the license application documentation verifying that the applicant completed a human trafficking awareness training program as specified. The bill also prohibits a transportation network company from allowing a transportation network operator, licensee, or license applicant to provide transportation network services unless the TNO, which is a transportation network, has completed a human trafficking awareness program as specified. There is one amendment that makes technical corrections. As amended, the bill is identical to its cross-filed Senate Bill 740, which passed the Senate unanimously. I move the adoption and urge favorable, I move the adoption of the amendment and the favorable committee report.
Floor leader moves to the adoption of the one committee amendment and the favorable committee report. On the amendment, any discussion? Any objections? Without objection, the one committee amendment is adopted. Question now on the amended report. Any discussion? Any objections? Without objection, the amended report is adopted. Are there any further amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, House Bill 829 is hereby ordered passed for third reading. Clerk will read the next bill.
House Bill 862, Delegate Stein, Railroads Required Crew for Movement of Freight, favorable.
Recognize the Senator from Anne Arundel as the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. House Bill 862 generally prohibits a railroad train used in connection with the movement of freight that shares the same corridor as a high-speed passenger or commuter train from operating in the state unless it has at least a crew of 2 individuals. Enactment of the bill is contingent upon the enactment of similar legislation in the state of New York, the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, and the Commonwealth of Virginia. There are no amendments. I move the adoption of the favorable committee report.
Floor leader moves for the adoption of the favorable committee report. Any discussion? Any objections? Without objection, the favorable committee report is adopted. Are there any amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, House Bill 862 is ordered passed for third reading. Clerk, read the next bill.
House Bill 999, Delegate Clippinger, Alcoholic Beverages, Class 9 Limited Distillery License Alterations, favorable.
Recognizing Vice Chair of the committee is the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. House Bill 999 repeals the requirement that a Class A holder of a Class 9 distillery license must maintain only one brand at any time for each product of brandy, rum, whiskey, alcohol, and neutral spirits that is distilled, rectified, and sold, and not manufactured or rectified product of any other product and another entity. The bill also limits the holder of a Class 9 limited distillery license manufacturing and rectify up to 31,000 gallons. There are no amendments. There is no fiscal impact. There was no opposition at the committee hearing. I move the adoption of favorable committee report.
Floor leader moves to the adoption of the favorable committee report. Any discussion? Any objections? Without objection, the favorable committee report is adopted. Are there any amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, House Bill 999 is hereby ordered passed for third reading. Let's go to second reading out of finance, report number 48. Clerk will read the first bill.
House Bill 1111, Delegate Peruski, Alcoholic Beverages, Class 3 Wineries, and Class 4 Limited Wineries, bulk wine, favorable with 2 amendments.
Recognizing Chair of the committee is the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. House Bill 1111 authorizes the holder of a Class 3 winery license to acquire bulk wine from the holder of a Class 4 limited winery license and a holder of a Class 4 limited winery license to sell and deliver bulk wine to the holder of a Class 3 winery license. There are 2 amendments. The first amendment is technical. The second amendment expands the definition of pomace brandy authorized to be produced and sold by the holder of a Class 4 limited winery license. No physical impact. I move the adoption of the favorable committee report.
Floor leader moves to the adoption of the 2 committee amendments and the favorable committee report. On the amendments, any discussion? Any objections? Without objection, the 2 committee amendments are adopted. Question on the amended report. Any discussion? Any objections? Without objection, the amended report is adopted. Are there any further amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, House Bill 1111 is hereby ordered passed for third reading. Clerk will read the next bill.
House Bill 1216, Delegate Phillips, Insurance Certificates of Guarantee for County Bond Requirements, all counties, favorable.
Recognizing the Senator for District 12 as the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. House Bill 1216 authorizes but does not require any county in the state, instead of only specified counties, to honor certificates of guarantee issued by a nonprofit association of contractors or wholly owned subsidies in order to satisfy certain county bond requirements. There are no amendments. There's no fiscal impact. Move the adoption of the favorable committee report.
Floor leader moves to the adoption of the favorable committee report. Recognize the Senator from the 42nd.
Thank you, Mr. President. This bill's just come to my attention. I'm not familiar with it. I'd like to take a look at it. Could we special order this to the calendar this afternoon?
Any objections?
No.
Without objection, the bill will be special ordered at the appropriate
Thank
time at the subsequent session. Clerk will read the next bill.
No. Okay. All right. House Bill 1219, Delegate Frazier Hidalgo, Climate Change, Homeowners Insurance, and Emergency Management Study, favorable with 1 amendment.
Recognizing Senator from Montgomery County as the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. Colleagues, House Bill 1219 requires the University System of Maryland to conduct a study to evaluate the relationship between climate change, the availability and price of homeowners insurance, and emergency and disaster preparedness. There is 1 amendment which adds a representative of the Independent Insurance Agents of Maryland. I move the amendment and the adoption of the favorable committee report.
Floor leader moves for the adoption of the 1 committee amendment and the favorable committee report. On the amendment, any discussion? Any objections? Without objection, the 1 committee amendment is adopted. Question now on the amended report. Any discussion? Any objections? Without objection, the amended report is adopted. Are there any further amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, House Bill 1219 is hereby ordered passed for third reading. Clerk will read the next bill.
House Bill 1377, Delegate Kaiser, Prescription Drug Repository Program, Redirecting Safe Prescription Drugs Pilot Program, favorable.
Recognize the Senator from Anne Arundel as the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. House Bill 1377 establishes a Redirecting Safe Prescription Drugs Pilot Program. To administer the pilot program, the Secretary of Health must collaborate with the federal DEA and 4 drop-off sites in the state registered with the DEA to participate in a National Prescription Drug Take-Back Day. Each drop-off site must coordinate with DEA to separate and redirect eligible, non-controlled, unopened prescription medications collected on Prescription Drug Take-Back Day to a repository program, ensure that collected prescription medications are packaged in a manner consistent with requirements of state prescription drug repository program, ensure that controlled substances are provided to the DEA, and transfer eligible prescription medications to a repository. There are no amendments. There was no opposition to the committee hearing, and I move the adoption of the favorable committee report.
Floor leader moves to the adoption of the favorable committee report. Any discussion? Any objections? Without objection, the favorable committee report is adopted. Are there any amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, House Bill 1377 is hereby ordered passed for third reading. We're going to go to the Committee on Education, Energy, and the Environment. Let's go to report number 36. Clerk will read the first bill.
House Bill 220, Delegate Sharkoudian, Environment, Water, Individual Submeters, favorable.
All right. Senator from the 27th District is recognized as the floor leader.
Great morning, Senate President.
Great morning.
House Bill 220 is identical to Senate Bill 130 as passed by the Senate. The bill authorized the installation of individual water submeters located in certain apartment houses and mobile home parks, subject to record keeping, billing, and complaints resolution requirements. There are no committee amendments. I ask that we move their favorable committee report.
Floor leader moves for the adoption of the favorable committee report. Any discussion? Any objections? Without objection, the favorable committee report is adopted. Are there any amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, House Bill 220 is hereby ordered passed for third reading. Clerk, read the next bill.
House Bill 247, Chair, Environment Transportation Committee, Chesapeake and Atlantic Coastal Bays Critical Area Protection Program, variances, alterations, favorable.
Recognizing the senator from the 43rd is the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. House Bill 247 strengthens and clarifies standards governing the variances from land use requirements under the Chesapeake and Atlantic Coastal Bays Critical Area Program. Under current law, property owners may seek a variance from local land use requirements. The bill was requested actually by the Critical Area Commission. It codifies the standards that are currently in practice, and it establishes specific criteria for these variances. Across the state, there are different standards or no standards, and so there's been some confusion around among land developers, et cetera. So I think it was important to have sort of standards across the state. The bill also tightens the rules around what a variance can and can't do. And it also should be based on, it also requires that there are hearings and notifications of variances. There are no committee amendments, and there's no fiscal impact. I move for the adoption of the favorable committee report.
Floor leader moves to the adoption of the favorable committee report. Any discussion? Any objections? Without objection, the favorable committee report is adopted. Are there any amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, House Bill 247 is hereby ordered passed for third reading. Clerk, read the next bill.
House Bill 258, Chair, Environment Transportation Committee, Chesapeake and Atlantic Coastal Bays Critical Area Protection Program, Standards and Procedures, favorable.
Recognized senator from the 43rd is the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. There's more on the Chesapeake and Atlantic Coastal Bays. This bill also clarifies and is a corrective update to the program. The program was established in 1984, and it, again, as I said in the last bill, it governs land use along the shorelines. and tributaries. This bill, also requested by the Critical Area Commission, makes a series of technical fixes to the program. It clarifies that the Commission must act by affirmative vote when adopting or amending regulations. Colleagues, just over the last couple years, there's been some changes in the board and the organization, attempting to sort of improve transparency, and so that's what these fixes are doing. It corrects a reference from a 6-year to a 10-year local program renew cycle. That makes it consistent with statutory and regulatory changes. It also defines what an adjacent is for purposes of land classification, and it also requires that any type of court-assessed damages for illegal tree cuttings or clearings must be paid to the applicable local jurisdiction rather than being paid to DNR. There are no committee amendments. The bill is identical to Senate Bill 178, which passed the Senate unanimously. There's no fiscal impact, and I move for the adoption of the favorable committee report.
Floor leader moves to the adoption of the favorable committee report. Any discussion? Any objections? Without objection, the favorable committee report is adopted. Are there any amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, House Bill 258 is hereby ordered passed for third reading. Clerk, read the next bill.
House Bill 525, Delegate Boafo, County Board of Education Student Electronic Communication Device Use Policy Establishment, Maryland Phone Free Schools Act, favorable 2 amendments.
Recognize Senator from the 27th as the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. House Bill 525. This bill is substantially similar to Senate Bill 928 as passed by the Senate. This bill requires each local Board of Education to develop and implement by 2027-2028 school year a policy to prohibit the use of electronic communication device by students during the academic school day. During this time, local policy must prohibit the use of devices, require students to store devices as specified, and prohibit students from accessing or using this on social media platforms. This bill is favorable with 2 amendments. And Mr. President, mine are for the amendment number 1. Amendment number 1 alters the short title to be the Joanne C. Benson Maryland Phone Free School Act. Amendment number 2 clarifies that the bill does not apply to the Maryland School of the Blind or the Maryland School of the Deaf, and alters the policy exemption provision related to the students with disabilities to expand allowable uses for students with disabilities. I move the adoption of the 2 committee amendments and the favorable committee report.
Floor leader moves for the adoption of the 2 committee amendments and the favorable committee report. On the amendments, recognize the President Pro Tem.
Thank you, Mr. President. On the bill, you know, I'm just really grateful that the senator from the 24th Legislative District's name placed on this bill, because she's been such a leader on making sure that our kids are so, you know, able to learn. And she has identified the fact that the phones are really a problem in our schools, particularly the cell phones. And she's just been such a leader on this. She's been such a leader in our body. And I really am really grateful that the committee thought that it really made sense to put her name up on that. And so I'm just very, very supportive of that. And I thank you very much.
Thank you, Senator. Thank you. Very good. Very good. All right. Recognize the minority whip.
I wonder if the floor leader yield for a question.
The floor leader yield. Senator may proceed.
I just want to ask a couple questions about this bill. Strong supporter. We've been working on this issue for a few years, and it is true. Our friend from Prince George's County, who the bill is now going to be named after, has been a real champion working on this as well. One of the things I think I've heard about, my wife is a teacher, I've talked with lots of teachers, the challenge of these phones, and it's not just about the child having the phone or even occasionally getting distracted by the phone or often getting distracted. It's also that it jerks their mind out of what they need to be focused on. I think we all have that problem sometimes ourselves as adults with that. But some counties have already put my county in particular, put policies in place. My understanding from this bill is that if you have a policy in place that meets these objectives, you just need to report that you have it, or if you have to make a small adjustment to it. But you're good to go. Nobody has to start from scratch, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, so counties that have led the way really in establishing these kinds of policies to get phones out of the classroom should be commended, and it's good. And then the other thing I've thought, and I don't know if the committee heard testimony on this, is one of the real challenges that teachers have. I think one of the big challenges we have in our education system, and there's a lot of rhetoric sometimes about teachers, teacher pay, teachers unions, getting results for our dollars in education. And I think all those are legitimate debates and points, and I'm sure you'd agree. But one of the real challenges is that teachers often don't feel like they're supported by administration the way they should be on things like discipline. And this is an area where some school systems, my understanding, was letting teachers make their own classroom rules. But if a teacher doesn't have administrative support, and particularly if it's not a clear policy, then it's easy for there to be debate and discussion, not just with kids, but sadly a lot of parents have fallen into the trap of believing that their child absolutely needs to have their cell phone with them in class all the time. So this appears to me to be an attempt in this bill to make sure that we have every county have a policy that they then can back their teachers up in disciplining their classroom. Is that correct?
That's correct. So this particular bill obviously puts the framework in to allow each local counties to develop their phone free school act and to implement it in each county. And this here helps them put that framework for each county to actually implement in the school. So the teachers will have the framework from each county to back them up in the school. That's
great. And then there's some flexibility if a school system does it slightly differently, but the goal is that they all have it. No, we don't have it in the classroom during instruction time, which is excellent. I think our next frontier is figuring out, I think we're a little over-teched too, but that's a different bill. But I appreciate the work that you and the committee have done, and it's wonderful. It's named after our good friend who I know has worked on this issue, and I'm told was an educator at one time, so. And a pretty good one, I think. So thank you. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Senator. All right, question remains on the two amendments. Any further discussion? Any objections? Without objection, the two committee amendments are adopted. Question now on the amended report. Any discussion? Any objections? Without objection, the amended report is adopted. Are there any further amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, House Bill 525 is hereby ordered passed for third reading. Clerk will read the next bill.
House Bill 578, Delegate Polakovich Carr, Fish and Wildlife, Endangered and Threatened Species and Migratory Birds, Regulations, List, Petitions, Essential Habitat, Takings, favorable to amendments.
Recognized Senator from District 10 is the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. Colleagues, as amended, House Bill 578 is nearly identical to Senate Bill 431 as passed by the Senate earlier this session. The bill makes changes to the state's Endangered and Threatened Species Law and provisions governing the irreplaceable natural area program. Specifically, the bill, 1, clarifies provisions governing listing or delisting species as endangered or threatened species. 2, authorizes the designation of essential habitats for endangered and threatened species. And 3, requires the Department of Natural Resources to review and update regulations carrying out irreplaceable natural area programs as specified. There are two committee amendments. Amendment number 1 is technical. Amendment number 2 conforms the bill to its Senate's cross-file by authorizing the Secretary of Natural Resources to adopt management protocols for designated essential habitats. Additionally, the amendment strikes language that would have explicitly prohibited a person from taking certain migratory birds without the understanding that DNR has the authority to regulate the takings of all wildlife, including migratory birds, as it deems necessary. I move the adoption of the two committee amendments and the favorable committee report.
Floor leader moves to the adoption of the two committee amendments and the favorable committee report. On the amendments, any discussion? Any objections? Without objection, the two committee amendments are adopted. Question now is on the amended report. Any discussion? Any objections? Without objection, the amended report is adopted. Are there any further amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, House Bill 578 is hereby ordered passed for third reading. All right, we're going to go to budget and tax. Budget and tax. This is report number 26. Clerk will read the bill.
Senate Bill 961, Senator Saling, Income Tax Credit, Venison Donation, Alterations, favorable.
Recognized Senator from District 6 is the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. This outstanding bill, 961, repeals the 300 limit on the amount of venison donation tax credit an individual may claim against the state income tax for any state tax year. The bill takes effect in July 1, 2026 and remains unaffected until the termination of Chapter 769 and 770 of 2024 currently scheduled for June the 30th, 2029, and the bill apply to the tax year 2026 and beyond. There is no amendments, and I move adoption of the favorable report, Mr. President.
Floor leader moves for the adoption of the favorable committee report. Any discussion? Any objections? Without objection, the favorable committee report is adopted. Are there any amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, Senate Bill 961 is hereby ordered printed for third reading. Sticking with budget and tax, let's go to Report 27. Clerk will read the first bill.
House Bill 139, Delegate Rogers, Sales and Use Tax, Tax-Free Day, Veterans Day, favorable with 2 amendments.
Recognizing the senator from the 47th is the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. House Bill 139, as amended, is identical to Senate Bill 9, which passed the Senate unanimously earlier this session and establishes Veterans Day sales tax-free day. I move adoption of the 2 committee amendments and the favorable committee report.
Floor leader moves for the adoption of the 2 committee amendments and the favorable committee report. On the amendments, any discussion? Any objections? Without objection, the 2 committee amendments are adopted. Question now is on the amended report. Any discussion? Any objections? Without objection, the amended report is adopted. Are there any further amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, House Bill 139 is hereby ordered passed for third reading. Clerk, read the next bill.
House Bill 175, Delegate Ziegler, Income Tax Credit, Venison Donation Alterations, favorable 2 amendments.
Recognizing the senator from District 6 is the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. As amended, House Bill 171 is identical to Senate Bill 961 that passed the Senate earlier, just a moment ago. As amended, the bill repeals the 300 limit on the amount of venison taxation donation, that is, for a tax credit individual may claim against the tax income for any year, any tax year. The bill takes effect July 1st, 2026 and remains in effect until the termination of the chapters of 769 and 770 of 2024. The bill applies to the tax year 2026 and beyond. There was 2 amendments, 1 technical and 1 to confirm the bill of HB 175 to Senate Bill 961. I move adoption of 2 amendments and the favorable report, Mr. President.
Floor leader moves for the adoption of the 2 committee amendments and the favorable committee report. On the amendments, any discussion? Any objections? Without objection, the 2 committee amendments are adopted. Question now on the amended report. Any discussion? Any objections? Without objection, the amended report is adopted. Are there any further amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, House Bill 175 is hereby ordered passed for third reading. Clerk, read the next bill.
House Bill 195, Delegate Queen, State Lottery and Gaming Control Commission, authority to conduct studies on the use of emerging technology and work group on gambling prevention technology, favorable.
Recognizing Senator from Montgomery County is the floor leader.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. House Bill 195 has the State Lottery and Gaming Commission work in collaboration with Bowie State University, Morgan State University, as well as the Maryland Center of Excellence on Problem Gaming, just to identify new trends in gaming, cybersecurity, just making sure we're using the best experts in the field with these universities and making sure that we're continuing to monitor problem gaming and also making sure that we're protecting Maryland residents who are engaged in gaming. There are no committee amendments. I'd move adoption of the favorable committee report.
Floor leader moves for the adoption of the favorable committee report. Any discussion? Any objections? Without objection, the favorable committee report is adopted. Are there any amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, House Bill 195 is hereby ordered passed for third reading. Clerk, read the next bill.
House Bill 289, Chair, Ways and Means, Video Lottery, Facility Payments, Intercepts for Restitution Payments, Child Support Payments, and Debts Owed to State, favorable.
Recognizing the majority leader is the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. House Bill 289 is identical to Senate Bill 176 that passed the Senate unanimously earlier in this session. This departmental bill authorizes Central Collection Unit, CCU, to certify a debt or claim owed to the state and the responsible debtor to a video lottery operator for prize interception. The bill specifies the order in which specified interception requests must be honored and makes clarifying changes. The Secretary of the Department of Budget and Management, DBM, and the Director of the State Lottery and Gaming Control Agency, SLGCA, may jointly adopt regulations to implement provisions of the bill, and the bill takes effect July 1st, 2026. There are no committee amendments, and I move adoption of the favorable committee report.
Floor leader moves to the adoption of the favorable committee report. Any discussion? Any objections? Without objection, the favorable committee report is adopted. Are there any amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, House Bill 289 is hereby ordered passed for third reading. Clerk, read the next bill.
House Bill 363, Delegate Palakovich Carr, Local Government Grant for Recipients of State Child Tax Credit Authorization, favorable, one amendment.
Recognizing the majority leader is the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. House Bill 363 is identical to Senate Bill 468 that passed the Senate unanimously earlier in this session. This bill authorizes a county to provide by law for a grant modeled on the state child tax credit. Specifically, a county may provide for a grant for each qualified child within the meaning of the state child tax credit of a taxpayer whose federal adjusted gross income, AGI, is less than $15,000 if the taxpayer and each qualified child are residents other than fiduciaries who are domiciled in or maintain a principal residence or place of abode in the county on the last day of the tax year. A county may provide for the amount of the grant, which must be reduced by 10% for each $1,000 or fraction thereof, by which the taxpayer's federal adjusted gross income exceeds $15,000. The bill takes effect June 1st, 2026. There is one committee amendment that strikes language requiring a county to reimburse certain expenses to the comptroller, and I move adoption of the amendment and the favorable committee report.
Floor leader moves to the adoption of the one committee amendment and the favorable committee report. On the amendment, any discussion? Any objections? Without objection, the one committee amendment is adopted. Question now on the amended report. Any discussion? Any objections? Without objection, the amended report is adopted. Are there any further amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, House Bill 363 is hereby ordered passed for third reading. Clerk, read the next bill.
House Bill 561, Delegate Palakovich Carr, Maryland Child Care Credential Program, extension of funding, favorable with two amendments.
Recognize the Senator from Montgomery County as the floor
Thank
leader.
you, Mr. President. House Bill 561 extends mandated funding for the Maryland Child Care Credential Program. There are two amendments. First amendment is technical. The second amendment conforms the bill to SB 467 by leveling the funding at $5,687,000 and limiting the extension to fiscal years 2028 through 2030. I move adoption of the two committee amendments and the favorable committee report.
Floor leader moves to the adoption of the two committee amendments and the favorable committee report. On the amendments, any discussion? Any objections? Without objection, the two committee amendments are adopted. Question now is on the amended report. Any discussion? Any objections? Without objection, the amended report is adopted. Are there any further amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, House Bill 561 is hereby ordered passed for third reading. Clerk, read the next bill.
House Bill 600, St. Mary's County Delegation, St. Mary's County Metropolitan Commission, favorable.
Recognize the Senator from St. Mary's as floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. House Bill 600 is a local bill that makes changes to the public local laws of St. Mary's County. The bill alters the fines and administrative actions that the county and the St. Mary's County Medcom may impose for certain misdemeanors and other penalties. The bill increases the minimum amount of the bond that the treasurer or deputy treasurer appointed by Medcom must give to the state, Medcom, and the county commissioners. Finally, the bill authorizes, rather than requires, Medcom to cause studies, plans, and estimates to be made for new facilities in portions of the county designated as not planned for service by the county comprehensive water and sewer plan. I move the adoption of the committee report.
Floor leader moves to the adoption of the favorable committee report. Recognize the Senator from Montgomery County.
Thank you, Mr. President. I was wondering if the floor leader would yield for a quick question.
Senator may proceed.
Has this bill been reviewed by the entire St. Mary Senate delegation?
Yes.
Thank you for that. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Senator. All right. On the report, any further discussion? Any objections? Without objection, the favorable committee report is adopted. Are there any amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, House Bill 600 is ordered passed for third reading. Clerk, read the next bill.
House Bill 604, Delegate Solomon, Arbitration Reform for State Employees Act of 2026, favorable.
Recognize the Senator from the 45th as floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. House Bill 604 is a matching cross-file to Senate Bill 28 as passed by the Senate. The bill alters the statutory collective bargaining process for state employees by establishing binding arbitration in the event of an impasse in negotiation. However, matters requiring a legislative change or appropriation are contingent on the General Assembly's approval of the legislative change or appropriation. The bill also includes a proposed constitutional amendment that requires the governor to include in the annual budget bill submission to the General Assembly the appropriations necessary to implement and fund all terms of the MOU or binding arbitration. The bill and constitutional amendment are not intended to alter, reduce, restrict, or abdicate the General Assembly's authority over matters subject to legislation and its authority over the annual budget. There are no amendments, Mr. President. Move adoption of the committee report.
Floor leader moves to the adoption of the favorable committee report. Any discussion? Any objections? Without objection, the favorable committee report is adopted. Are there any amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, House Bill 604 is hereby ordered passed for third reading. Clerk will read the next bill.
House Bill 753, Delegate Lehman, Tax Sales Homeowner Protections Revisions, favorable with one amendment.
Recognize the senator from the 47th as the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. House Bill 753, as amended, makes several changes related to tax sales by establishing protection from a tax sale for a homeowner who has a terminal illness or medical hardship, and requiring that such individuals be given priority under the Homeowner Protection Program, increasing the upper limit for the assessed value of a person's dwelling from $300,000 to $450,000 for home owner protection program eligibility, and requiring the state tax sale ombudsman to develop a process to allow a homeowner to designate a family member or another representative of the homeowner to communicate and work with the ombudsman on their behalf, including under the Homeowners Protection Program. The committee does have one amendment that does allow for a licensed healthcare provider to provide the required documentation regarding terminal illness or medical hardship instead of being limited to a physician. I move adoption of the favorable committee amendment and the favorable report.
Floor leader moves to the adoption of the one committee amendment and the favorable committee report. On the amendment, any discussion? Any objections? Without objection, the one committee amendment is adopted. Question now on the amended report. Any discussion? Any objections? Without objection, the amended report is adopted. Are there any further amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, House Bill 753 is hereby ordered passed for third reading. Clerk, read the next bill.
House Bill 805, Delegate Solomon, Building Homes Act, favorable.
Recognize the senator from the 45th as the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. House Bill 805 authorizes a county or municipal governments to grant a property tax credit for a dwelling if a dwelling is subject to a mortgage or deed of trust provided by a nonprofit entity, a covenant, or legally binding agreement with a duration of at least 20 years that enforces income and equity or appreciation restrictions. The portion of the value of the dwelling that the homeowner is responsible for paying on the homeowner's first mortgage or deed of trust. Local governments may provide for the duration of the tax credit or additional eligibility requirements. Mr. President, I was actually telling my chair that I got to see this up close when we think about generational wealth. It was in the 3300 block of Dudley Avenue a couple years ago where I got to see a woman get to create generational wealth through home ownership. Then I got to see it just last year over there at the Old Freedom Way of what we call Orchard Ridge, where we're doing it at scale, where this organization is providing zero interest loans for folks that are trying their best to get to the level of home ownership. There are no amendments, Mr. President, but I do ask for favorable report for this respective Bill 805.
Thank you, Senator. Floor leader has moved for the adoption of the favorable committee report. Any discussion? Any objections? Without objection, the favorable committee report is adopted. Are there any amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, House Bill 805 is hereby ordered passed for third reading. Before we get to the next one, recognize the Chair of Budget and Tax.
Yes, Mr. President, thank you for an introduction.
Distinguished alumni of
the University of Maryland. Yes, and if we could all, you could all join me in welcoming the University of Maryland baseball team. We're up in the gallery.
Welcome. Well, some days you come into the Senate and a baseball game is about to break out, you know. So welcome, welcome. Thanks for joining us today. All right, clerk, read the next bill.
House Bill 927, Carroll County Delegation, Carroll County Public Facilities Bond, favorable.
If you all are looking for a catcher, the chair of our capital budget subcommittee is ready to fill in at any point. So, yes, recognize the senator from the 29th.
Thank you, Mr. President. House Bill 927 is identical to Senate Bill 448, which passed the Senate unanimously earlier this session. The bill authorizes the Carroll County Commissioners to issue up to $27 million in general obligation bonds. The bill takes effect June 1st, 2026. There were no committee amendments, and I move the adoption of the favorable committee report.
Floor leader moves for the adoption of the favorable committee report. Any discussion? Any objections? Without objection, the favorable committee report is adopted. Are there any amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, House Bill 927 is hereby ordered passed for third reading. Clerk, read the next bill.
House Bill 933, Delegate Wilkins, Sales and Use Tax Certificates Indicating Multiple Points of Use, Alterations, favorable.
Recognizing the majority leader is the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. House Bill 933 is identical to Senate Bill 644. This bill alters provisions of the state sales and use tax regarding multiple points of use, MPU certificates, for the purchase and use of specified digital codes, digital products, and taxable data and information technology, IT services. A buyer that obtains authorization from the comptroller may issue MPU certificates and must provide an MPU certificate in the form and manner required by the comptroller for each vendor from which the buyer intends to make purchases, subject to an MPU certificate. A vendor who receives an MPU certificate must verify the authenticity of the certificate. An MPU certificate provided to a vendor remains in effect for all future purchases from the vendor until the authorized buyer rescinds the MPU certificate. The vendor receives notice that the buyer's authorization to issue MPU certificates has been revoked, or the vendor otherwise knows or should know that the buyer's authorization has been revoked. The bill takes effect January 1st, 2027. There are no committee amendments, and I move adoption of the favorable committee report.
Floor leader moves to the adoption of the favorable committee report. Any discussion? Any objections? Without objection, the favorable committee report is adopted. Are there any amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, House Bill 933 is hereby ordered passed for third reading. Clerk, read the next bill.
House Bill 1139, Delegate Forbes, State Retirement Pension System Administration Clarification, favorable, 2 amendments.
Recognize the senator from Frederick City as the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. This bill is, as amended, is the same as Senate Bill 734. Both bills passed unanimously. It makes various procedural and technical changes to the administration of the state retirement and pension system plans. There are 2 amendments. One makes technical changes to the title, and the second amendment makes a corrective change to the list of heads of specified units of state government eligible for immediate vesting in the system. Colleagues, there are several senior level positions in various departments that are eligible for immediate vesting. And what this bill does is clarify that list. So I move for adoption of the 2 amendments as well as the favorable committee report.
Floor leader moves for the adoption of the 2 committee amendments and the favorable committee report. On the amendments, any discussion? Any objections? Without objection, the 2 committee amendments are adopted. Question on the amended report. Any discussion? Any objections? Without objection, the amended report is adopted. Are there any further amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, House Bill 1139 is hereby ordered passed for third reading. Clerk will read the next bill.
House Bill 1176, Howard County Delegation, Howard County Board of Education Budget, Percentage of County General Fund Revenue, favorable.
Recognizing the senator from Howard County as the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is a Howard County local bill. It's pretty simple. It just requires some analysis and reporting of some data related to the school system. There are no amendments. Move of adoption. Favorable report.
Floor leader moves to the adoption of the favorable committee report. Any discussion? Any objections? Without objection, the favorable committee report is adopted. Are there any amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, House Bill 1176 is hereby ordered passed for third reading. Clerk, read the next bill.
House Bill 1232, Delegate Edelson, Baltimore City Economic Development Project in Downtown Rise District, payment in lieu of taxes, favorable with 2 amendments.
Recognize the senator from the 45th as the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. House Bill 1232 is identical to 756, which passed the Senate unanimously. This is a local bill that authorizes Baltimore City to exempt or partially exempt an economic development project located in the Downtown Rise District from city real property taxes. To qualify for the tax exemption, the owner of the project must enter into a payment in lieu of taxes agreement with the Baltimore City Board of Estimates. Mr. President, you know I don't come out of my lane much, but this is my one Baltimore approach, one Maryland approach. There are 2 amendments to this bill. The first is technical. The second turns the bill into an emergency bill, sunsets in 10 years, and clarifies that the pilot agreements do not terminate when the bill sunsets. Move adoption of the 2 committee amendments and the favorable committee report, Mr. President.
All right, floor leader moves to the adoption of the 2 committee amendments and the favorable committee report. On the amendments, any discussion? Any objections? Without objection, the 2 committee amendments are adopted. Question now on the amended report. Any discussion? Any objections? Without objection, the amended report is adopted. Are there any further amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, House Bill 1232 is hereby ordered passed for third reading. Clerk will read the next bill.
House Bill 1330, Delegate Hornberger, Homeowner Property Tax Credit Year-Round Application, favorable.
Recognize the Senator from Montgomery County as the floor leader.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Colleagues, House Bill 1330 allows eligible homeowners to apply for the homestead property tax credit throughout the year. And it takes effect in fiscal year 2028. There are no committee amendments. I'd move adoption of the favorable committee report.
Floor leader moves to the adoption of the favorable committee report. Any discussion? Any objections? Without objection, the favorable committee report is adopted. Are there any amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, House Bill 1330 is hereby ordered passed for third reading. Clerk will read the next bill.
House Bill 1611, Delegate Pippy, Property Tax Credit, Credit for Dwelling in House of Disabled Veterans and Surviving Spouses, Income Eligibility, favorable with 2 amendments.
Recognize the Senator from District 6 as the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. As amended, House Bill 1611 conforms with Senate Bill 980, which passed the Senate unanimously. The bill repeals the current income limitation and disability rating percentage used to establish eligible for local option property tax credits for disabled veterans and their spouses. Instead, in the amended bill, the county and municipality cooperative provide the eligibility criteria. There's 2 amendments. The first is technical. The second amends the bill to conform to Senate Bill 980 as previously described. Move adoption of the 2 committee amendments and the favorable report, Mr. President.
Floor leader moves to the adoption of the 2 committee amendments and the favorable committee report. On the amendments, any discussion? Any objections? Without objection, the 2 committee amendments are adopted. Question now on the amended report. Any discussion? Any objections? Without objection, the amended report is adopted. Are there any further amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, House Bill 1611 is hereby ordered passed for third reading. All right, let's go to judicial proceedings. This is report number 24. Clerk will
Mr.
read
President.
Oh, yes. We recognize the Senator from the 23rd.
Yes, can I ask the Prince George's delegation to step in the back very quickly for a brief vote?
Yes, Senator, but have to do it in the silver room.
Silver room, that's fine. Thank
All
you.
right, excellent. Prince George's County, Prince George's County. If anything comes up, we'll make sure to pause it. Recognize the Senator from Baltimore County is the floor leader.
Thank you very much. This bill alters the salaries of the Howard County Sheriff and the Howard County State's Attorney by establishing the following salaries for each office. For calendar year 2027, $220,601. It increases their salaries. I'll just say that. There are no committee amendments. I move the favorable committee report.
Floor leader moves to the adoption of the favorable committee report. Any discussion? Any objections? Without objection, the favorable committee report is adopted. Are there any amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, Senate Bill 1003 is hereby ordered printed for third reading. We've got a consent calendar. This is report number 25 out of judicial proceedings. Clerk will read the report.
Judicial Proceedings Report number 25, Consent Calendar number 15.
Recognizing Chair of the Committee.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Consent calendar number 15 are comprised of House bills that passed the Senate Judicial Proceedings Committee unanimously, and their Senate counterparts passed the Senate floor unanimously. I'd move for the adoption of the favorable committee report.
All right, the Chair moves for us to adopt the favorable committee report for judicial proceedings bills on Report 25, Consent Calendar 15. Senators, please take a look at the report, at the consent report. We've got about 10 bills on here. Are there any bills that senators wish to take up separately for one reason or another? Recognize the Senator from Montgomery County.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just wondered if I could ask the floor leader just a quick question about one of the bills.
Recognizing the floor leader, yield for a question.
House Bill 286, Vehicle Laws Ignition Interlock System Program Required Participation. Do you recall what exactly that bill does? House Bill 286. It does say cross-file Senate Bill 38. I don't know whether that was.
Okay, so I'll just read the brief description, and then I can, if you have further questions, then go for it. So it specifies that an individual must participate in the ignition interlock system as a condition of a modification of a suspension or revocation of a license, issuance of a restricted license if a person violates the alcohol restriction imposed under Title 16. So right now, individuals younger than the age of 21 are subject to this requirement. If they have this violation, if they have been convicted or are arrested on a suspected DUI. Consistent with the existing statute, if the individual fails to successfully complete a program, like an intervention program, then the individual is subject to a 1-year mandatory license suspension.
So, to
a license suspension.
Okay. Okay. So it's not reducing participation.
No, this is an additional option and layer on top of the current requirements for if you get convicted or charged with a DUI for an interlock system. This is an additional layer, not appealing back or a revocation.
Thank you.
Thank
I
you.
appreciate that. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Senator. All right, any further discussion on the consent? Yes, recognize Senator from the 45th.
Can I ask the chair a question about House Bill 338? Yes, sir.
Senator may proceed.
I know a lot of times when we do these expansions, especially like state police and things of that nature, we usually have MOUs with the respective local jurisdictions. And I only say that because every jurisdiction is policing is a little bit different. Did we think that through, or is that incorporated in this respective bill?
Yes. So unless there's an exigent circumstance, the officer that's moving into a jurisdiction or that is more than 2,000 feet away from a state building or a government building has to provide notice when possible beforehand and certainly afterwards. So there's no MOU required under this bill, but there is notification required.
Is this second reader or third reader?
This is on second reader, but it's a House bill amendable, subject to amendment on third reader.
Does Senator want to separate it out?
No.
Sure. All right. Okay. Any other bills that Senators discussion on the report? Discussion on the report? If not, any objections to the adoption of the report? Without objection, the favorable committee report for bills on consent calendar number 15 out of the judicial proceedings is adopted, and the bills are ordered passed for third reading. I've got another one. Let's go to report 26. Clerk will read the report.
Judicial Proceedings Report number 26, consent calendar number 16.
Recognizing Chair of the committee.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Consent calendar number 16 is comprised of House bills that passed the Senate Judicial Proceedings Committee unanimously, that their Senate counterparts passed the Senate floor unanimously. I'd move for the adoption of the favorable committee report.
All right. Chair moves for the adoption of the favorable committee report for bills out of judicial proceedings on consent calendar number 16. Are there any bills that Senators wish to take up independently? Any separations? We're good? All right. If any objections to the favorable committee report, without objection, the favorable committee report is adopted for bills on consent calendar 16, and they are ordered passed for third reading. Back to non-consent calendars. This is still judicial proceedings report number 27.
House Bill 108, Delegate Pasteur, Division of Correction Volunteer Service Program, favorable.
Recognizing Senator from the 44th District as the floor leader.
Thank you very much. This bill is similar to its cross-file Senate Bill 61, which passed the Senate 44-0. The bill establishes the Volunteer Services Program in the Division of Correction. The division must establish a protocol for registering volunteers, including formerly incarcerated individuals and organizations led by formerly incarcerated individuals in the program to have access to state correctional facilities for the purpose of assisting incarcerated individuals with release preparation. A volunteer in the program has the right to elect whether the volunteer's name is made available to the public. There were no committee amendments. I move the favorable committee report.
Floor leader moves to the adoption of the favorable committee report. Any discussion? Any objections? Without objection, the favorable committee report is adopted. Are there any amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, House Bill 108 is hereby ordered passed for third reading. Clerk will read the next bill.
House Bill 306, Delegate Shee, Vehicle Laws, Manufacturer and Dealers, prices listed on dealer websites, Jack Fitzgerald Price Transparency Act, favorable.
Recognizing Vice Chair of the committee is the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. This bill is identical to Senate Bill 297, which passed the Senate 42-1. The bill allows for dealerships to indicate on their website that the price they purchase a vehicle may be lower than the minimum advertised price. This does not apply to situations in which a dealer violates existing law. As you can see, the bill is named after Jack Fitzgerald, who recently passed and is a hero both in the industry and in our communities. Mr. President, I move for the adoption of the favorable committee report.
Floor leader moves to the adoption of the favorable committee report. Any discussion? Any objections? Without objection, the favorable committee report is adopted. Are there any amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, House Bill 306 is hereby ordered passed for third reading. Clerk, read the next bill.
House Bill 492, Chair, Judiciary Committee, Courtroom Security, Minimum Adequate Security Standard, favorable.
Recognize the senator from the 34th District as the floor leader.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. This bill is substantially similar to Senate Bill 578, which passed the Senate unanimously. The bill requires the state police to establish rates for police-initiated towing of light-duty vehicles. There was a technical amendment, so I would move the technical amendment and the favorable committee report.
Floor leader moves to the adoption of the favorable committee report. Any discussion? Any objection? Without objection, the favorable committee report is adopted. Are there any amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, House Bill 492 is hereby ordered passed for third reading. Clerk will read the next bill.
House Bill 1030, Chair, Judiciary Committee, Office of the State Prosecutor, Investigation of Threats, Judges, favorable.
Recognizing the senator from the 34th as the floor leader.
Yes, Mr. President. I think on the last bill we did have a technical amendment that I moved.
Did I miss that?
Possibly.
I think I got it.
Okay.
No, didn't I? I thought I got it.
All right,
No?
I hope so. So anyway, it was a technical amendment. All right, thank you. So House Bill 1030 is identical to Senate Bill 634. It was at the request of the judiciary, and what it would do, it adds a violation of Section 3-708 of the criminal law article for judges and judge-elect offenses to be investigated by the state prosecutor. There were no committee amendments, no opposition, and I would move the favorable committee report.
Floor leader moves to the adoption of the favorable committee report. Any discussion? Any objections? Without objection, the favorable committee report is adopted. Are there any amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, House Bill 1030 is hereby ordered passed for third reading. Clerk, read the next bill.
House Bill 1110, Delegate Lewis, Judicial and REM Tax Foreclosures, Notice Requirements, favorable.
Recognize the senator from the 16th District as the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. House Bill 1110 requires that a county or municipality, when filing a complaint for an in-rem foreclosure action on specified vacant property, serve the complaint on each interested party in accordance with the Maryland rules. This requirement replaces an existing requirement that the county or municipality, within 5 days after filing the complaint, send notice and a copy of the complaint to each interested party by first-class mail and certified mail, postage prepaid, return receipt requested, bearing a postmark from the U.S. Postal Service. There are no amendments. I move the favorable committee report.
Floor leader moves to the adoption of the favorable committee report. Any discussion? Any objections? Without objection, the favorable committee report is adopted. Are there any amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, House Bill 1110 is hereby ordered passed for third reading. Clerk, read the next bill.
House Bill 1457, Washington County Delegation, Washington County Juveniles Truancy Reduction Pilot Program, favorable.
Recognize senator from District 1 as the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. Colleagues, House Bill 1457 is identical to Senate Bill 715, which passed the Senate 41-1. The bill authorizes the Circuit Administrative Judge of the Fourth Circuit to establish a truancy reduction pilot program in the juvenile court in Washington County. There were no amendments. Therefore, Mr. President, I move the favorable committee report.
Floor leader moves to the adoption of the favorable committee report. Any discussion? Any objections? Without objection, the favorable committee report is adopted. Are there any amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, House Bill 1457 is hereby ordered passed for third reading. Let's stick with judicial proceedings. We've got report number 28. Clerk will read the first bill.
House Bill 11, Delegate Simmons, Anne Arundel County Sheriff, Appointment of Majors, favorable.
Recognize the senator from the capital city as the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. This bill is the cross-file of Senate Bill 397, which passed this chamber unanimously. This bill does have some differences to its Senate cross-file, though. What this bill does as amended is it authorizes the Anne Arundel County Sheriff to appoint 3 majors to serve at the pleasure of the Anne Arundel County Sheriff, and the salary to be determined by the Anne Arundel County Council. It has 2 committee amendments. Amendment number 1 is technical. Amendment number 2 makes the appointment discretionary and adds clarifying language. Move for adoption of the favorable committee report.
Floor leader moves for the adoption of the 2 committee amendments and the favorable committee report. On the amendments, any discussion? Any objections? Without objection, the 2 committee amendments are adopted. Question now on the amended report. Any discussion? Any objections? Without objection, the amended report is adopted. Are there any further amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, House Bill 11 is hereby ordered passed for 3rd reading. Clerk, read the next bill.
House Bill 30, Delegate Foley, Public Safety Department of State Police, Police-Initiated Towing Alterations, favorable 1 amendment.
Towing. Towing. Recognize the senator from the 34th District as the floor leader.
Yeah, that's not, the reason I hesitated, Mr. President, was that I thought we just did this bill. But but the issue may have been that it didn't appear to show the technical amendment on the board when we went through the process, but I did just do the bill, didn't I? Yeah.
I think that was the other one.
Oh, I'm okay. Sure, I'm doing both of them. Sure. Well, it's the same bill that we just dealt with, which was no. Yeah, I know, and I thought okay. I'm sitting here with both files, so give me just a moment. All right. So, House Bill 30. Is substantially similar to Senate Bill 578, which passed unanimously by the Senate. Bill requires the state police to set up a towing rate for police-initiated tows. There was a technical amendment. Maybe that's where the confusion was. The Senate bill didn't have that technical amendment. So we have a technical amendment, so I would move the technical amendment and the favorable committee report.
Yep. Floor leader moves to the adoption of the 1 committee amendment and the favorable committee report. On the amendment, any discussion? Any objections? Without objection, the 1 committee amendment is adopted. Question on the amended report. Any discussion? Any objections? Without objection, the amended report is adopted. Are there any further amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, House Bill 30 is hereby ordered passed for 3rd reading. Clerk will read the next bill.
House Bill 187, Delegate Taylor, Criminal Procedure, Expungement, no finding in case terminated without finding, favorable with 2 amendments.
Recognize the senator from the 26th District as the floor leader.
Thank you very much. Senate Bill 187, as amended, this bill expands eligibility for an expungement under Section 10-110 of the Criminal Procedure Article to include a charge that was not disposed by or of by unequivocal conviction, but was instead disposed of by the court with no finding, designation, or included in a case that was designated by the court as having been terminated without finding. The amended bill is identical to Senate Bill 320 as passed in the Senate. There are 2 amendments. Amendment 1 is technical, and Amendment 2 conforms the bill to its cross-file. Move for a favorable report.
Floor leader moves to the adoption of the 2 committee amendments and the favorable committee report. On the amendments, any discussion? Any objections? Without objection, the 2 committee amendments are adopted. Question now on the amended report. Any discussion? Any objections? Without objection, the amended report is adopted. Are there any further amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, House Bill 187 is hereby ordered passed for 3rd reading. Before we jump to the next one, Madam Clerk, no, at the end of the calendar? Okay, clerk, read the next bill.
House Bill 467, Delegate Embry, Correctional Services, Maryland Parole Commission, Improvements in Transparency and Equity, favorable with 2 amendments.
Recognizing Chair of the Committee is the floor leader.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. As amended, this bill is identical to Senate Bill 822, which passed the Senate 31-11. The bill establishes that the Maryland Parole Commission does not have the authority to permanently deny parole, and that an incarcerated individual is entitled to subsequent parole hearings at a specific interval based on the length of sentence. After each parole hearing, the results denial of parole must be furnished to the incarcerated individual. In addition, the bill alters various requirements for parole hearings and decisions. Finally, the bill prohibits a county from being a party to certain administrative proceedings regarding the compensation of individuals who are wrongfully convicted. Mr. President, there are two committee amendments. One is technical. Amendment number 2 conforms the bill to Senate Bill 822 by adding the provision prohibiting the county from being a party to a certain administrative proceedings, and move for the adoption of the 2 committee amendments and the favorable committee report.
Floor leader moves for the adoption of the 2 committee amendments and the favorable committee report. On the amendments, any discussion? Any objections? Without objection, the 2 committee amendments are adopted. Question now is on the amended report. Any discussion? Any objections? Without objection, the amended report is adopted. Are there any further amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, House Bill 467 is ordered passed for third reading. Clerk, read the next bill.
House Bill 1218, Delegate Wilkins, Safe and Healthy Homes for All Act, favorable.
Recognizing the senator from the capital city is the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. This bill is the cross-file of Senate Bill 941, which passed this chamber unanimously. This bill does have some changes from Senate Bill 941. House Bill 1218 does still task the Department of DHCD, the Office of Landlord Tenant Affairs specifically, and the Office of the Attorney General with identifying severe health and safety risk properties, but it does make some changes. It would limit that operation to properties with 50 or more units, so targeting those large landlords. It would also require them to focus on the most severe, serious, and high volume violators of those severe safety risk properties. It would also task them with having effective communications with the locals as well, the local governments. It would also give them some other opportunities to make sure they're identifying cost containing measures as well, in addition to the original mandates set out in the bill. It would additionally require them to produce a report, but instead of it being both the AG and DHCD, it now has DHCD exclusively producing that report. That is the result of the work of the House, and we did accept those, and we move for the adoption of the favorable report.
Floor leader moves for the adoption of the favorable committee report. Any discussion? Any objections? Without objection, the favorable committee report is adopted. Are there any amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, House Bill 1218 is hereby ordered passed for third reading. All right, let's see. Where are we? We've got, yes. Oh, yes. Recognize the Chair of Education, Energy, and the Environment.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. President. This morning we had a visitor, we had the Ambassador of Romania here. We have some more important officials representing foreign governments. The Vice Chair and I had a great meeting this morning, and we do have the Delegate General of Quebec here, and my French is not too good, David Brulot, there you go, Brulot, okay, I've been corrected, and Taylor Reek as well, to his right, and they, again, Delegate General, they are the primary representatives of the government of Quebec here in the United States. They're based out of the New York office, so why don't we give them a warm Senate welcome.
We welcome you. Would you have any words for the body? Would you like to join us for any? If you'd like to join us up here, put you on the spot here. This is our International Relations Day here in the Maryland Senate. Hello there. Welcome. Great to meet you.
Well, just a few words. Merci beaucoup. Thank you so much to all of you for hosting us today. I just want to highlight the depth of our relationship that we've built over decades, over a century, especially in this very important year for the U.S. and for Maryland. We've had the pleasure of hosting several of your colleagues back in Quebec over the years. And again, a testimony to the depth and the gratitude from our government of Quebec here to everyone here in Maryland. So thank you for having us today. And I really invite you to please come to visit us back in Quebec. Merci beaucoup à vous tous. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. I believe there's an NCSL event in Quebec this year, so we look forward to seeing you up there. Wonderful. Excellent. All right, let's go ahead. Let's see where we are. Hold on 1 second. Let's see. All right, let's try some of these special orders. We'll see. Actually, wait. We've got some messages from the House that we didn't do at the beginning here. Message number 6. Clerk will read the message. Or we'll read the bills, rather.
Senate Bill 42, Senator Simon Ayer,
Majority
reduction
Leader moves so we
facilities.
consider the reading of those bills. Those were passed by yeas and nays. This is now a message from the House. These are first reading House bills number 35. Clerk will read the bill.
House Bill 687, Delegate Amprey, Criminal Procedure Evidence Protecting Artist Creative Expression, rules.
All right, bill is ordered to the Rules Committee. A few more we got special orders. Let's just see where we are, whether they can move along or not. Let's start with 67. 67. Clerk will read the bill.
House Bill 663, Delegate Rosenberg, Department of the Environment, Federal Environment Policy Reporting. Question is the adoption of the favorable report.
All right, question is on the adoption of the favorable report. Any discussion of the report? Any objections to the report? Without objection, the favorable committee report is adopted. Are there any amendments? Recognize the minority whip has an amendment. Pages will collect and distribute the senator's amendment. All right, Senator may explain the amendment.
Thank you, Mr. President. This bill is asking for the Department of Environment to give us a federal environmental policy report every 6 months, starting on July 1st of this year, all the way through, looks like 2029, on any changes in federal environmental policy that have been legally valid by a final decision of a federal court, including any change that rescinds a finding about greenhouse gas emissions from new motor vehicles, greenhouse gas emission standards on vehicles and engines, greenhouse gas emission standards for stationary sources, or impacts the department's administration of any federally delegated authority. And there's some additional commentary, but it's largely about greenhouse gas regulation. I feel it's very important as we look at trying to deal with emissions and deal with clean air and making sure we're trying to make our environment as clean as possible. One of the really great breakthroughs that's happened that I think is, but there's been a realization by folks on both the right and the left of the political divide that nuclear power is a wonderful thing and that we need to find ways, and our body here has tried to work on this issue, find ways to expand nuclear energy and nuclear opportunity, including we're excited about the opportunity for there to be small site nuclear as we move forward. And the Trump administration is actually making a lot of changes on regulation relative to trying to stimulate nuclear energy growth in the country and remove maybe artificial barriers or barriers that can be removed that maybe are from a time previously that there wasn't as much technologically available and safety was not as strong. And so I believe it would be great if we could add to this reporting that we get reports on any changes from the federal level relating to nuclear power, because it could be some great opportunity for us to seize as we try to expand our energy growth here in the state. I know we've talked a lot about how do we stimulate more growth with clean energy in Maryland. And so I think this would be great for us to just be sure we're getting a regular report along with how the federal government may or may not be changing regulations involving greenhouse gas. So I'd move my amendment, Mr. President, and thank you.
All right, Senator moves the amendment. Recognize the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to thank the gentleman from District 5, both for the excellent recap of what the bill does and for sharing the amendment in advance. The committee sees this as a friendly amendment.
All right, all right. Without objection, any objections from the floor? Without objection, the amendment is adopted. Are there any further amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, House Bill 663 is hereby ordered passed for third reading. Let's try 68. 68. Where are we on 68? Clerk will read the bill.
House Bill 153, Delegate Lehman, Residential Rental Apartments Air Conditioning Requirement. Question is the adoption of the favorable report as amended.
Question remains on the favorable report as amended. Recognize the senator from the 42nd.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The bill does not, the question that came up yesterday was, does the bill have a penalty provision associated with it? What would happen if someone ascertained that their apartment was over 80 degrees, even though they'd pushed the thermostat down as low as it would go once the bill's enacted? The bill does not have a penalty provision. It's written to a section of the code, Title 8 of the Real Property article entitled Landlord and Tenant, which has lots of landlord-tenant statutes. That does not contain a penalty provision either. Under the circumstances, I'm advised that what the tenant should do is make a complaint to the county housing department. Each of the 23 counties in Baltimore City has its own housing department. Make a complaint there, and the housing department would have to take a look at this. It is possible the tenant could also file a lawsuit against the landlord for violating the statute, but that's the answer to the question. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Senator. Any further discussion on the favorable report as amended? Yes, recognize the senator from Prince George's.
You know, thank you, Mr. President. It's really difficult for us to work with apartment owners. I want to cite an example of what we're dealing with in the 24th District. We have an apartment complex, and it's specifically designed for senior citizens or people who are retired. We were very unhappy with them about this whole issue of air conditioning. They decided that they would do it, but what they did was they put the air conditioners over on the roof of the apartment complex. Now, the folks on the 4th floor can't sleep at night because the noise from the air conditioning is keeping them up. We are having a terrible time with the county as it pertains to dealing with these owners of this complex. They are saying what we're saying in Prince George's County, and I don't know whether it prevails anywhere else, is that the state are the people who are really responsible for enforcing the law as it pertains to this whole issue of not only air conditioning, but what goes on in some of these complexes. Where is the, could you yield on that, please? Could you tell me if this bill speaks to where the air conditioners could be placed?
No, it does not. There's nothing in the bill that requires the landlord to put the air conditioning units in any particular location. Excuse me?
It just says that they have to have air conditioning in the complex.
Yes, and that the air conditioning must be sufficient to cool the apartments down to 80 degrees at a location 3 feet above the floor.
The thing that I'm just worried about is the noise that's, these dear little souls can't even sleep in their bedrooms.
Yeah.
They have to sleep on the sofa, or it seems that the noise that they have to endure is confined to the bedroom area. It's unbelievable what we're going through as it pertains to this complex. I'm just wondering how we can fix it. They told me that the only way it could be done is that we come to the state and put something in place.
It sounds like a good idea for a bill next year, which would have a full hearing and allow the issue to be vetted thoroughly, and then the bill could be modified and enacted into law in a way that would protect people like your constituents. But this bill doesn't have anything in it that requires air conditioning to be placed in any particular location in or around an apartment house.
Oh. That's unfortunate. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. Maybe an area for a nuisance claim. Somebody could, maybe we'll follow up afterwards. All right, on the favorable report as amended, any further discussion? Any objections? Without objection, the favorable committee report as amended is adopted. Are there any further amendments to the bill or its title? Seeing none, House Bill 153 is ordered passed for third reading. Let's go to 69, Special Order Calendar 69. Clerk, read the bill.
House Bill 1326, Delegate Wilson, Child Abuse and Neglect, Disclosure of Reports and Records. Question is the adoption of the favorable report.
This is the recognizing the chair of the committee.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Well, the senator that had the inquiry is here now. But the floor leader is not here. But I can attempt to answer some of the questions for the that the senator from Baltimore City may have had. But if not, we can special order it to the appropriate time tomorrow or at the end of the calendar. Oh, here we go.
No worries.
I can also answer it.
Okay. Let's recognize the senator from the 40th District.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. President. Me and the floor leader was actually in the back discussing this right now, trying to work through the issues. And so if we could hold it over
The
for
second session?
Yeah, yeah. thank
Any
you.
objections? No objections. We'll special order the bill to the appropriate time for the second session today. All right, let's do the special order calendar 70. Clerk will read the bill.
House Bill 571, Delegate Allen, Nonprofit Housing Corporations Taxes and Special Assessments Exemptions, Alterations. Bill is on third reading for final passage.
Okay, the bill is on third reading for final passage. I was thinking this was still on second, but let's do this. Can we special order this in 43? Can we special order this just until we get to the third reading calendar, which we're actually almost at? Let's keep it up. We've got it up. We've got it here. Let's recognize the senator from the 43rd on the third reading calendar, or on the bill on third reader.
Well, I was going to ask for a motion to move it for second reader for the purposes of having discussion. Some questions, ask some questions about the implications.
Senator's welcome. The bill, Senator's more than welcome to ask questions on the bill on third as well here.
Okay. So one of the issues that I have concerns about or wanted to clarify here is that when you look at the section, when you read the section in its entirety, it's setting up public housing projects, et cetera, and it has some findings. And so I wanted to just share what the findings are for the section of law in which this amendment is placed. So under 12-102, the findings of the General Assembly in 2006, when this section, it turns out this section was redrafted in 2006 from some prior housing authority language that really kind of focused mostly on it being all governmental. These revisions were done to incorporate, to have a locally determined housing authority and also incorporate nonprofit entities to support that activity. So the findings were that there is a shortage, and it'll be interesting, this was 20 years ago, but there is a shortage of safe and sanitary housing that is available at rents that individuals of low income can afford. There was a construction of housing projects for individuals of low and moderate income does not compete with private enterprise. So one of the promises and what's of concerns about the bill here is that part of our findings and the legislative findings was that it was important to have sort of a balance of what was publicly subsidized, publicly organized, as well as the private sector. So again, our legislative finding number 5 says construction of housing projects for individuals of low and moderate income does not compete with private enterprise. Okay, and so in the bill, creating a definition of this new housing corporation provides an additional competitive, gives an advantage. So that's number 1. Number 2, I have a question. Oh, so my question is, to what extent does legislative intent or our findings should shape legislation that follows? It's not a rhetorical question, I guess anyone can answer, but it would be my understanding that we're not simply amending just one small piece of something, that it's in a larger context and of fulfilling a purpose. And this is, again, this is the section of the law that has statewide applicability. There are other sections that are just for the individual jurisdictions, but this one has statewide applicability. So,
question for the floor leader. Senator, will yield to the floor leader for the purpose of a question.
Thank you. I'd like to reiterate that the definition of affordable housing is very specific to this particular section. And in fact, if you look at page 2, line 14, it says, in this subsection, the following words have the meanings indicated. And affordable housing means rental housing. And so what we're trying to do is very specific to this very narrow piece of the code. There are lots of definitions of affordable housing in lots of different parts of the code, and they mean different things in different places according to what program they are being specific to. So this is very narrowly tailored to this specific subsection.
Does this subsection, what's the purpose of this this section of this subtitle 12?
The purpose here is talking about, well, it starts out by talking about housing authority entities, and then it goes into what we're trying to do in this bill, and it talks about how these specific entities that are participants in the low-income housing tax credit program, their property tax is treated, to put it really simplistically.
Right. So the article, the section, is about what is our state policy and framework and entities for addressing the production or the lack of production of safe and sanitary housing.
But
and
again,
so it creates
it is very specific to talking about the tax exemptions and for housing authorities and also for nonprofit organizations.
Well, I think whether the decision of whether to carve out a specific benefit for a subset in a larger market. I think I just wanted to let the body see that this is operating in a larger market and a policy agenda of saying that there should be, that there is a shortage of housing, that the housing should be affordable, and that the construction of this, should not necessarily create, differential benefits between between nonprofit and for-profit, and this does that in this section.
Well, I think writ large, our policy agenda is, I think our values are, we recognize that there is a shortage of affordable housing in this state, and we are trying to put in place policies that will encourage that. And so we're just trying to expand the entities beyond housing authorities that would be eligible for that same kind of treatment to these particular nonprofit developers.
So I have a question just about this LIHTC, program. So what happens with how does this facilitate low income, low cost production of housing? How does LIHTC do that?
So it's a federal program. I can't pretend to know the ins and outs of the federal program, but it's a federal program administered by the Department of Housing and Community Development. They have different rounds during the year. I believe it's 2 rounds. They have slightly different financial specifications for the rounds. They have for-profit and nonprofit developers who put together proposals. There are different, and there are very, I think, strict guidelines for how they do that. They are assessed and then they are scored as to whether they meet those guidelines, and then I'm not sure if they are ranked, and then they are awarded that tax credit program. There are obviously financial benefits to developers, again, both for-profit and nonprofit developers, that help them put these very complex, financially diverse programs together to be able to build housing.
So when just I guess as an example, so with Homes for America or Enterprise or CHI or Osprey, if they get a $2 million tax, LIHTC tax credit, it's my understanding that they then sell those tax credits to investors?
I believe that's how it works.
Okay, and then what did the investors get? And this gets into the cost, of this particular program, and also the decision to sort of carve out this very small program, because the state has lots of programs, and this particular program, I'd be interested to know what the impact of it is here.
So I need to be really specific here that those decisions are made prior to the giving of any sort of exemption under what we're trying to do here.
Oh,
so
where does that happen?
That decision is happening in advance to what we're trying to do here. So this does not change in any way the process of obtaining or competing for a low-income housing tax credit.
Oh, no, I was just saying, what are we spent, what is the money used by the entities that get?
Not, to be honest, not relevant to what we're trying to do here. Because that decision has already been made by the Department of Housing prior to what we're trying to do here.
So, Mr. President, what we're doing here, though, is we are interfering with that. We are changing potentially impacting the decisions, because specifically, as I raised yesterday, if the entities are able to use the fact that we get back to not paying taxes, if they're able to...
Senator,
let me just finish. That it is relevant, and that the cost of the final projects, the fact, the awarding process, and that certain entities that are large, if they are able to show more cash on hand, because fiscal stability is in fact one of the criteria for being awarded it, that it is creating that. So now you can.
I want to make it clear, it's a federal tax exemption. It's not a state. It's a federal program, and it's a federal tax reduction. And so I guess I'm not clear in what you're asking for.
Okay, so each state is assigned a certain number of tax credits to be distributed among any potential developers, or I'll just say, housing providers in the state.
Right.
So, like the last round, there are like 53 different people applying. Not all of them, there's not money sufficient to provide all of them. So there's a ranking and there's a competition, and one of the factors is the fiscal sustainability and reliability of the company. And so while the tax credit that is sold to investors so that they can reduce their tax liability, that, and then combined with this entity being able to use the fact that it no longer pays taxes or any of the fees that a local government might assess, will allow it to present itself as more fiscally secure than some other competitor. Would you agree?
I don't necessarily agree.
Okay, so that's on consideration. Additionally, what is interesting, and Mr. President, it is a little teaching to the test here. The definition of affordable housing is interestingly exactly the definition for LIHTC tax credit. Exactly. I put it in there, and exactly that definition is there. So we're defining in law affordable housing for rental housing, and the definition, even if it's in this section, is designed specifically just for one program. Additionally, there is this other definition around the units are reserved for households earning 60% of the area median income. Well, and that the rent is restricted. And the gross rent of 30%, that's sort of your typical restriction, that's requirement. You know, the 60% of the median area income, again, this is all added, you know, new in this piece of law. So we're not just talking about affordable housing for low income, even if it's in this piece. And the organizations that qualify are the ones that are doing most of the work. So, for example, we just saw Homes for America is going to be doing, I think, some of the work of Mondawmin Mall. Osprey or someone is going to be doing something here in Annapolis. So, you know, this legislation is really crafted for these top 5, 6. So I think that's problematic. But getting back to the purpose of the whole section, the legislative findings about low and middle income, the legislative intent that is in here, the intent that any kind of this corporation should be related to and be subject to local control, local engagement. We strike all of that. And median income, it accounts the MSAs. You know, a household income in our area, 100,000. DC, Arlington, Alexandria, 126,000. And then, you know, we've places in Cumberland and other places that are a little more affordable. But in its definition, it's median, now it's the median income of the MSA. So even if it's in this section, we are, Mr. President, giving a benefit or a leg up to entities that are not focused, or not, at least not, doesn't have in its stated definition, doing home ownership, which is something that's been important, but also not even really low income or moderate. I mean, we really can't say 100, 126,000, 123. I mean, I don't know your neighborhood, but that's, you know, that's kind of a little comfortable. So the bill does really, it changes sort of those fundamental things. And I know, yeah. So when I do oppose just the giving this benefit to entities that are already, you know, utilizing things, but it's really changing, I think, substantially, even though you're saying it's in one section, it's substantially changing us from looking at affordable as also including lower income people. So the bill was amended, and one of the amendments, it's sort of in the end, in 2.3, talks about the property and taxes, et cetera. But the bill came in talking about making these corporations exempt from liens or nonprofits. When would a housing authority, when would a national, a nonprofit housing corporation have a levy or lien, or why would that have been is that a problem that's going on with participants in the LIDEC program?
That's not part of this bill any longer. That is amended out of the bill.
Well, it was what I think it sets a frame.
It's not the bill before us.
Okay, alrighty. So the other issue, so for the bill before us, you know, is that it does take away, takes away the local focus on being able to assess fees. I can imagine that that's not going to have some type of impact. It also, I don't understand, there's a property, they've added a charitable purpose. You know, in the sections is 2.3 or I. It's talking about the uses of the property. So previously, it did not include charitable. Why is that there now?
I don't know where you're referring.
That would be on the
Don't
last
see that.
page.
I don't see that. I don't I don't see anything on page
Hold on,
4
hold on.
that actually is changed, with the exception of the line 2.
Hold on. Make sure I got that right. Okay. So this has been struck, the charitable purposes. In the original definition of nonprofit corporation, it said it means a nonprofit or charitable private corporation, but that was struck. So charitable is no longer there under 12-104.
That must be current law, because I don't see that anywhere here.
Right, that is current law.
We didn't make any change there.
You did. So if you look on page...
Please, yes, tell me where.
I can show you exactly. So currently it would be section C1I, and that is on page, there it is. What page is that, 2?
I see, are you talking on page 2, line 14?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it says, in this subsection, the following words have the meanings indicated. Affordable housing means rental housing that has been awarded or approved by a credit allowed under section 42 of the Internal Revenue Code and is subject to a covenant under the federal low-income housing tax credit program, or approved by the governing body of the political subdivision in which the project is located, and for which at least 50% of the units are reserved for households earning at or below 60% of the area median income for the metropolitan statistical area of the project, and the rent is restricted, and it goes on there. I don't see anything
Well,
about
3,
charitable.
would you read 3?
3?
Yeah.
Says nonprofit housing corporation means corporation incorporated under the laws of the state or authorized to do business in the state.
No, I was asking to read the what was deleted, the change. I was saying existing law is that nonprofit or charitable private corporations that provide safe sanitary housing to persons.
Oh, correct. That was deleted and replaced with this new definition.
Right. So it's right. So did the committee discuss the impact of the exclusion of charitable private corporations, or what that?
That the bill came in that way, and
existing law. I mean, when we do bills, we're changing existing law. So existing law for 20 years felt that a definition that it would include charitable.
Charitable was put back in on page 3 in line 20.
But it's not in the section having to do with the tax credit.
It is. I mean, it says property is used for essential public and governmental or charitable purposes and is exempt from all taxes and special assessments of the state. It was just moved. It was.
So it is, that is exempt from taxes, but does it get?
Yes, it was exempt from taxes.
It's also exempt from taxes, and so it also gets the tax credits.
Yes.
Okay, well, that's good. So, let's see the other thing we do. Mr. President, I think that where we're going is feeling that this is something that should just pass, but I believe a lot of the language in here, so there's a couple of things. One, there's an unfair advantage. I think that we are carving out for a particular population in what is supposed to be a very broad market with lots of options, lots of entities could use the support. We have found there's reports that really have, called into question the ways in which certain organizations, particularly those that are able to draft and influence legislation, are disproportionately awarded not only these tax credits, but also are disproportionately given variances and having to be waived from some of the very requirements that's here. And here we are in law, Mr. President. So not only there's already a pattern of waiving requirements, of allowing some alternative ways of representing the organization. We're changing drastically the definition of what a nonprofit housing corporation, even if it is for this purpose, it is inconsistent with the rest of the article, which focuses on us producing low-income housing, supporting housing organizations that are supported by part of the community, and we're really removing, all of that, Mr. President. So I think I'm at the end of what I want to draw out. I just would hope that the committee would really, finally, frankly, consider that under our latest, actually I did have one more fact I wanted to talk specifically about the fiscal impact on the market and on the use of these tax credits, that what's something called the total development costs for new construction that is supported by LIHTC are much higher than other funded programs. In fact, think about this. The average unit cost in 2023 was about $450,000 per unit. So we're subsidizing, paying $450,000 per unit. We could build houses with that. So again, this is a financial decision. There are costs. It's not just a federal program. And there are entities and organizations that are being disadvantaged in this bill because the organizations, again, that proposed the bill, and again, they have the right to lobby just like, everyone else, but it's so clearly, Mr. President, written in a way that's just for these four that I don't see how we can really justify giving a sort of free pass in some way, to entities just because they say they're doing affordable housing, and the actual criteria that they've put, in the law is clearly not that. And sorry, one more. These affordable housing set-asides are only required for 10 years. Did you hear it's only required for 10 years. So we support and invest in building affordable housing. People may come in at a rate and live there for 10 years, and the owners can increase that price, and they have no return, because in 10, 15 years, all deals are off. There are numerous lawsuits with the Federal Housing Administration about discrimination, disability discrimination. There are numerous lawsuits about the integrity of the buildings, because again, they get the tax credit, they build the building, you can move in with your new family, your child is 1 year old, 2 years old, and when they're just about to hit high school, they could possibly not have to or be able to go to the high school that they're currently living in because the rent has been raised up. So thank you, Mr. President, and I'm going to put up a red vote.
All right. Thank you. Madam Secretary, if we could, All right. The bill is on third reading for final passage. Any further discussion? If not, the clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President?
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote? Explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. On the nose. With 24 votes in the affirmative, House Bill 571, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. All right. Let's go to executive nominations. This is special order calendar number 64. Clerk will read the report.
Executive Nominations Committee Report Number 7. Question is, will the Senate advise and consent to the nominations of the executive?
All right. Question is on the nominees for report number 7. Will the Senate advise and consent to the nominations of the executive? Senators, are there any names that senators wish to remove, or no, not remove, separate out? Any names? If not, if we're ready for the question, green vote is to affirm, red vote is to reject. Clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President?
Has everyone recorded their vote? If so, the clerk will take the call. With 43 votes in the affirmative, the Senate advises and consents affirmatively to the nominations of the executive. All right, let's do this concurrence calendar here. We've got a Senate bill concurrence. This is calendar, what number are we on there for the concurrence? Thank you. 3. Concurrence calendar number 3. Clerk, read the bill.
Senate Bill 440, Senator Gazone, Income Tax, Theatrical Production Tax Credit. Motion to concur with the House amendments.
Recognizing the chair of the committee on the House amendments.
Thank you, Mr. President. The committee concurs with the House amendments to Senate bill. There is, what they had done was simply set an upper limit of money that could be carried forward from year to year. The Budget and Tax Committee then concurs with the amendments.
The committee moves that we concur with the House amendments. Any discussion? Any objections? Without objection, the House amendments are adopted. Senate Bill 440 is again before the Senate on third reading for final passage. Any discussion? If not, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President?
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote? Explain their vote. If not, the clerk will take the call. With 42 votes in the affirmative, Senate Bill 440, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. Let's go to third reading calendar number 79. Clerk will read the first bill.
Senate Bill 246, Senator Bidel, Health Services Cost Review Commission, term of office of members.
Senate Bill 246 is on third reading, final passage. Any discussion? If not, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President?
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote? Explain their vote. If not, the clerk will take the call. With 43 votes in the affirmative, Senate Bill 246, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. Clerk will read the next bill.
House Bill 370, Senator Augustine State Acupuncture Board revisions.
Senate Bill 370, third reading, final passage. Any discussion? If not, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President?
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote? Explain their vote. If not, the clerk will take the call. With 42 votes in the affirmative, Senate Bill 370, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. Clerk, read the next bill.
Senate Bill 467, Senator King, Maryland Child Care Credential Program Extension of Funding.
Senate Bill 467 is on third reading, final passage. Any discussion? If not, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President?
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote? Explain their vote. If not, the clerk will take the call. With 42 votes in the affirmative, Senate Bill 467, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. Clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 564, Senator Giles, State Government Office of the Attorney General, Data Protection.
Senate Bill 564, third reading, final passage. Any discussion? If not, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President?
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote? Explain their vote. If not, the clerk will take the call. With 43 votes in the affirmative, Senate Bill 564, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. Clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 644, Senator King, Sales and Use Tax Certificates indicating multiple points of use alterations.
Senate Bill 644, third reading, final passage. Any discussion? If not, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President?
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote? Explain their vote. If not, the clerk will take the call. With 43 votes in the affirmative, Senate Bill 644, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. Clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 782, Senator Jackson, Telecommunication Infrastructure Protections.
Senate Bill 782 is on third reading, final passage. Any discussion? If not, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President?
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote? Explain their vote. If not, the clerk will take the call. With 43 votes in the affirmative, Senate Bill 782, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. Clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 808, Senator King, Health Insurance Provider Panels Requirements.
Senate Bill 808 is on third reading, final passage. Any discussion? If not, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President?
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote, explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 43 votes in the affirmative, Senate Bill 808 having received a constitutional majority is declared passed. Clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 849, Senator Gallion, Consumer Protection, Agriculture Equipment Warranties.
Senate Bill 849, third reading, final passage. Any discussion? If not, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President?
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote, explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 43 votes in the affirmative, Senate Bill 849 have received a constitutional majority is declared passed. Clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 867, Senator A. Washington, Economic Development, Maryland Aerospace Technology Commission alterations.
Senate Bill 867, third reading, final passage. Any discussion? If not, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President?
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote, explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 43 votes in the affirmative, Senate Bill 867 having received a constitutional majority is declared passed. Clerk will read the next bill.
Senate Bill 982, Senator McCray, Mutual Insurance Holding Company's conversion to mutual insurers.
Senate Bill 982, third reading, final passage. Any discussion? If not, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President?
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote, explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 43 votes in the affirmative, Senate Bill 982 having received a constitutional majority is declared passed. Let's go to third reading calendar number 12. This is a consent calendar. Clerk will read the calendar.
Third reading calendar number 12, consent calendar number 10.
All right. All right, this is out of budget and tax. Recognize the chair for separation.
Yes, just first of all, these bills are all identical to cross-filed bills that passed the Senate unanimously. However, I would like to separate 680.
680 will be taken up separately. Senators, are there any other bills? These are bills out of budget and tax. Any other bills that senators wish to take up independently for one reason or another? If not, we will take up the consent calendar number 10, but not House Bill 680. Any discussion? Third reading, final passage. Clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President?
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote, explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 43 votes in the affirmative, House bills on consent calendar number 10 out of budget and tax having received a constitutional majority are declared passed. Clerk will read the next bill.
House Bill 680, Delegate Shetty, Children's Cabinet Fund renaming and funding for grants to local management boards.
All right, House Bill 680 is on third reading for final passage. Recognize the chair of the committee has an amendment.
I do.
Pages will collect and distribute the senator's amendment. Senator may explain the amendment.
So during the budget process, we had an ad that was related to the Children's Cabinet Fund, and that ad inadvertently affected the long-term projections of the fund. All this does is put it in the posture that the one-time ad that we had did not affect the budget in the long term. Move the amendment.
All right, the senator moves the amendment. Any discussion of the amendment? Any objections? Without objection, the amendment is adopted. House Bill 680 is now on third reading for final passage. Any discussion? If not, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President?
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote? Explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 41 votes in the affirmative, House Bill 680 having received a constitutional majority is declared, is declared passed. Let's go to report number 15. Clerk will read the report.
Third reading calendar number 15, consent calendar number 11.
All right, these are third reading, final passage. Senators, please take a look. Final action on any of these bills. Are there any bills here that senators wish to separate? If not, a couple frantic looks, making sure. Recognize the senator from the 37th.
I want to separate House Bill 252.
252. All right, we'll take that one up independently. Any further? Appears not. Clerk, for all bills on consent calendar 11, but not House Bill 252. Third reading, final passage. Clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote? Explain their vote. If not, the clerk will take the call. With 43 votes in the affirmative, the House bills on consent calendar number 11, having received a constitutional majority, are declared passed. Clerk will read the next bill.
House Bill 252, Chair, Environment Transportation Committee, Environment Lead Paint Abatement Services Performance Bond and Liability Insurance.
House Bill 252 is on third reading for final passage. Any discussion? Yes, recognize the Senator from the 37th.
Yeah, I just rise in opposition to this bill. I've been contacted by some folks that do this work, and they don't feel they're going to be certified, and small contractors of that nature. I just wanted to make sure to bring it to everyone's attention. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. All right. Any further discussion? If not, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote? Explain their vote. If not, the clerk will take the call. With 32 votes in the affirmative, House Bill 252 have received a constitutional majority is declared passed. Let's go to third reading calendar number 17. Clerk will read the report.
third reading House Bill calendar number 17, consent calendar number 12.
All right, these are consent calendar out of EEE committee. Yes, recognize the senator from the 26th district for a separation.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Sorry, 26. Sorry, I didn't see you there, Senator. Yes.
Wish to remove for purpose of amendments 102, 276, 293, and 311.
Okay, those three we will move out. Nope. Okay. All right, we're good there. Are there any left? The first four. 102, 276, 293, 311. Any further? All right. If not, we're on consent calendar 12, but not 102, 276, 293, 311. All right. Third reading, final passage. Clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote, explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 43 votes in the affirmative, House bills on consent calendar number 12, but for the one separated, having received a constitutional majority, are declared passed. Clerk will read the next bill.
House Bill 102, Delegate Patterson, Education Dependent Children of Active Service Members, Advanced Enrollment Procedures.
House Bill 102 is on third reading for final passage. Any discussion? Any discussion? Yes, recognize Senator from the 26th.
I don't have the amendments yet for either of these bills, but they will be up as they ordered. Thank you.
Senator wishes to special order the bill to the appropriate time in the next session.
Or I don't know if they can do that. What about tomorrow?
Tomorrow, any objections? Any objections?
Thank you.
Without objection, the bill will be special ordered to the appropriate time tomorrow. Clerk, read the next bill.
House Bill 276, State Emergency Medical Services Board Public Access Automated Internal Defibrillator Program revisions.
House Bill 276 is on third reading for final passage. Recognize Senator from the 26th.
The same until tomorrow, please.
Senator moves special order the bill to the appropriate time tomorrow. Any objections? Without objection, so ordered. Clerk will read the next bill.
House Bill 293, Chair Ways and Means, Maryland Longitudinal Data System, External Data Sharing with Third-Party Data Centers for Multi-State Reporting Authorization.
Recognize Senator from the 26th.
I'll work hard on them, and hopefully they'll be tomorrow's special order.
Special order for the appropriate time tomorrow. Any objections? Without objection, so ordered. Clerk, read the next bill.
House Bill 311, Delegate Kaufman, Public Schools, Individuals with Disabilities, Accessibility, and Emergency Planning.
Third reading, final passage. Recognize the senator from the 26th.
I am very sorry I omitted this one. Same thing, amendments until tomorrow night. Thank you, sir.
All right. Any objections? Special order of the appropriate time tomorrow. Any objections? Without objection, so ordered. All right. Let's go to calendar number 19. Number 19. Clerk will read the calendar.
Third reading House Bill Calendar number 19, consent calendar number 13.
All right. These are bills out of EEE. These are bills out of EEE on the consent calendar. Third reading, final passage. Any bills that senators wish to separate out? Take a look through the list. Final passage.
Mr. President.
Recognize the senator from District 5.
Could we separate HB 263?
263. All right, we'll take that up separately. Any further? Recognize the senator from the 26th District.
I am so sorry, sir. 263, 265, and the others, 621, I want to hold them till tomorrow. I'm working very hard to get the amendments. Thank you, sir.
All right, we're going to have to come back to them. 263, 265.
Okay. Is there 4 or there's 3?
327.
327. All right.
Wait a minute. He's adding them.
Okay. We'll take up those 3.
Does he want 621?
On bills outside of that,
Did he say 621? No.
621. Was that the?
Okay. Okay. Sorry. All right. Perfect.
All right, well, we are where we are. Let's go with consent calendar 13, but not 263, 265, 621.
No.
Correct? Nope, sorry.
327?
Did we say 327? I think we did say 327, that's correct. That's right. Nope, I think we got it now.
Okay, so
We'll make sure we're all clear on the question. The question is on the consent calendar number 13, and we are separating out 263, 265, 327, 621. Any discussion? If not, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President.
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote? Explain their vote. If not, the clerk will take the call. With 43 votes in the affirmative, House bills on consent calendar 13, but the ones that were separated out, having received a constitutional majority, are declared passed. Clerk will read the next bill.
House Bill 263, Chair, Government and Election Law, Early Voting Centers, Bus Stops on third reading.
All right, House Bill 263 is on third reading. Recognize the senator from District 4 on the bill.
Trying to help out my good senator from Prince George's. I'd like to see if we could hold this until tomorrow, special order till tomorrow.
Move to special order the bill to the appropriate time tomorrow. Any objections? Without objection, so ordered. Bill is ordered special order to the appropriate time tomorrow. Clerk, read the next bill.
House Bill 265, Chair, Government, Labor and Election Committee, State Board of Elections, Address Confidentiality Program, Designation of Contact Person.
House Bill 265 is on third reading, final passage. Any discussion? If not, clerk will call the roll. Yes, recognize the senator from District 4.
I believe I had a question, but I was going to go ahead and let my good friend from Prince George's County. If we could special order this bill till tomorrow for an amendment.
All right, senators, move to special order the bill to the appropriate time tomorrow. Any objections? Without objection, so ordered. Bill will be special ordered to the appropriate time tomorrow. Clerk will read the next bill.
House Bill 327, Baltimore County Delegation, Education Board of Community College Trustees for Baltimore County membership.
Recognize senator from the 26th.
Yes, sir. May have a few problems with this bill, and I would like to special order for amendments for tomorrow. Thank you.
All right, any objections to the senator's motion? Yes, recognize the senator from Baltimore County.
I am concerned about this because the cross-file has not yet passed the House, and this is very important to our community college system. And it actually is it's time sensitive given redistricting of our councilmanic districts, and it's very important to our community college system.
Thank you very much. I believe all of our bills are time sensitive, but the work that needs to be done must be done. Thank you.
Well, the question is on the special order. There's an objection to the special order, so the question is on the motion. The question is on the motion. Recognize the senator from the 43rd on the motion.
Yeah, Baltimore City and Baltimore County. Just a question about sort of general practice around, this is a delegation bill. This is some delegation. The delegation sent a support letter. Would ask that this is a delegation bill, and there are other delegation bills that will be coming up, and I think that perhaps this delegation bill should not be included in whatever all this is.
Question is on the special order. On the special order, any senators who have not yet spoken wish to speak recognize the senator from the 26 on the special order.
I'll concur and let it go. Thank you.
Senator withdraws the motion. House Bill 327 is on third reading, final passage. Any discussion? If not, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President.
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote? Explain their vote. If not, the clerk will take the call. With 42 votes in the affirmative, House Bill 327 having received a constitutional majority is declared passed. Clerk will read the next bill.
House Bill 621, Delegate D. Jones, Local Board of Elections, Board Council Qualifications on third reading for final passage. This is an emergency bill.
House Bill 621 is on third reading, final passage. Any discussion? If not, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President.
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote? Explain their vote. If not, the clerk will take the call. With 40-some number? 43 votes in the affirmative, House Bill 621, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. Let's go to number 20. Number 20. These are not consent, so we're back to one by one. Clerk will read the first bill.
House Bill 35, Delegate Foley, Local Government Regulatory Powers, Regulation of Invasive Trees.
All right, House Bill 35 is on third reading for final passage. Any discussion? If not, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President.
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote? Explain their vote. If not, the clerk will take the call. With 42 votes in the affirmative, House Bill 35 having received a constitutional majority is declared passed. Clerk will read the next bill.
House Bill 57, Delegate Vogel, Public Schools, Maryland Civic Excellence Program established.
House Bill 57 is on third reading. Third reading for final passage. Any discussion? If not, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President.
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote? Explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 43 votes in the affirmative, House Bill 57 having received a constitutional majority is declared passed. Clerk will read the next bill.
House Bill 96, Baltimore County Delegation, Baltimore County School Board Nominating Commission Membership Alterations.
House Bill 96, third reading, final passage. Any discussion? If not, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President.
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote? Explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 38 votes in the affirmative, House Bill 96, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. Yes, recognize the senator from District 7.
Sorry, can I be changed green on this bill? We had two bills in the delegation. I was confused on which one we were voting on. I was trying to find out, so I'll be green on this.
Why don't we do
one.
this? Why don't we do this? Why don't we strike the vote? Strike the vote. All right. Bill's on third reading, final passage. Clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President.
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote? Explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 42 votes in the affirmative, House Bill 96 having received a constitutional majority is declared passed. Clerk will read the next bill.
House Bill 115, Delegate Wilkins, Election Law, Individuals Released from State Correctional Facilities, Automatic Restoration of Voter Registration.
House Bill 115 is on third reading, final passage. Any discussion? If not, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote? Explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 30 votes in the affirmative, House Bill 115 received a constitutional majority. Is declared passed. Clerk, read the next bill.
House Bill 154, Delegate Corman, Open Meetings Act, County Board of Education Enhanced Requirements, Local Board of Education Transparency Act.
House Bill 154 is on third reading for final passage. Recognize the minority whip has an amendment.
Yes,
it
Mr.
appears.
President, I have an amendment.
Pages will collect and distribute the senator's amendment.
Should be.
All right, Senator, may explain the amendment.
Thank you, Mr. President. This was a friendly amendment on the Senate bill that I'm going to offer. And we accepted it, and I supported the bill and the intent of the bill. And I'm disappointed that we couldn't get the House to go along with it. And I think it's time. I think it's an important amendment to have on. This bill, just so everybody's aware, is a bill that's going to require that all county boards of education have that they follow the same sort of enhanced requirements under the Open Meetings Act that we've put on many of our other boards, commissions around in state government. And I totally agree. And it's going to require video recordings of their meetings. They have to have a publicly posted agenda, live video streaming for each portion of a meeting held in open session, and it has to be publicly available on the county board's website in accordance with the general provisions article. But in one spot here, it includes them in a list of other agencies required to do this. But there's a spot in the bill that they have to provide live video streaming of an open meeting if it's held at the county board. But it also gives them the ability to edit the archive video recording in certain circumstances. And one of the ways that ones that it does is it allows for them to edit if a pornographic or obscene event occurs on the recording, or two, if an instance when the student's privacy is violated. And obviously for number two, for both of these I have no problem with. For number two, the subject of my amendment has nothing to do with the student privacy part. That's fine. But I am concerned that, and we talked about this when it was on the floor, and there was wide support for this, that if I don't want it to be, and I don't think it's right, that if something happens where information, where the school has provided materials or there were materials made available to a student by a school, and that is the subject of the concern raised at the meeting, and then that information is somehow viewed as pornographic, I don't believe that should be able to be censored out of the meeting video. I think that should be a narrow exception to the exception. This is giving them an exception to be able to edit the record, the public record, and have no objection. But I think we need to be very clear, because this has happened in some places where someone is trying to say, hey, this was given to my son or daughter, this was given out by the school or an authority figure with the school. You shouldn't be able to say, oh, well, that's pornography. You can't reveal that, because it's an important part of the public record. So, Mr. President, I would move this amendment on this bill and ask for the body's support.
All right, the senator has moved the amendment. Recognize the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. Colleagues, we took this as a friendly amendment and sent the Senate bill over to the House with this amendment. We don't think it harms the bill, but the House had a different opinion. 17-0, unanimous in committee and unanimous in the floor. The House almost does nothing with unanimous. It was 133-0, and that was without this amendment. So for the greater good of giving local autonomy, our local boards of education, the ability to handle this themselves without being prescriptive, we are going to resist the amendment and ask that this bill, this transparency bill, move forward.
All right, on the amendment, are there any senators who have not yet spoken that wish to speak? Recognize the maker of the amendment.
Well, let's just be clear, Mr. President. 17-0 in the committee did not reject the amendment. It voted for the bill as is. And I understand the floor leader was not representing that. Let me be clear. I'm not accusing the floor leader of representing that way. But I don't believe the body in the House maybe thought this through. I don't know. But I believe the bill is much stronger and much better with this in here. And it's what our Senate agreed to. And quite often what happens is we're in these battles with the House and Senate, and I understand sometimes we have to give a little and take a little. I think this amendment led to a unanimous vote here. And so, Mr. President, I would press my amendment, and I'm just going to ask for a roll call. I thought about doing a layover, but just because I'm pretty irritated about this not being in the bill. But I'm going to just press for a vote. I'd like a roll call vote, Mr. President.
All right, question is on the amendment. Any discussion? If further discussion, rather. Not, the clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President?
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote? Explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. Ooh. With 22 votes in the affirmative, the amendment is adopted. House Bill 154 is on third reading for final passage. Any discussion? If not, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President?
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote, explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 41 votes in the affirmative, House Bill 154 have received a constitutional majority is declared.
Mr. President.
Passed. Yes, recognize.
My button did not work.
On the
on this vote.
On this vote.
I was saying you vote green, but
in the
just
green.
in general,
All right.
it's a problem.
Senator wishes to be recorded in the green. Any objections? Without objection, so ordered. All right. Let's go to. That's the end of that calendar. Nope. Clerk, read the next bill.
House Bill 243, Chair Economic Matters Committee, Land Use Comprehensive General Plans, Alteration of Elements.
All right. House Bill 243 is on third reading, final passage. Any discussion? If not, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President?
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote, explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 37 votes in the affirmative, House Bill 243, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. Let's go to calendar 21. All right. Clerk, read the first bill.
House Bill 250, Chair, Environment and Transportation Committee, Environment, Appropriation, Use of Water, and Dam Safety Enforcement.
House Bill 250 is on third reading, final passage. Any discussion? If not, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President?
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote? Explain their vote. If not, the clerk will take the call. With 32 votes in the affirmative, House Bill 250, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. Clerk, read the next bill.
House Bill 255, Chair, Environment and Transportation Committee, Natural Resources, Pamela J. Kelly Tree, Mendes, Maryland Program Alterations.
House Bill 255, Tree Mendes, is on third reading, final passage. Any discussion? If not, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President?
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote? Explain their vote. If not, the clerk will take the call. With 44 votes in the affirmative, House Bill 255, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. Clerk, read the next bill.
House Bill 288, Chair, Ways and Means Committee, State Superintendent of Schools, Prolonged State Emergency, Authority to Declare.
House Bill 288 is on third reading, final passage. Any discussion? If not, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President?
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote, explain their vote? God bless you, very much so. Clerk will take the call. Trying to keep everybody awake. That's why it's so cold. Yeah. All right, with 37 votes in the affirmative, House Bill 288, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. Clerk, read the next bill.
House Bill 359, Delegate Roberson, Property Tax Credit, Urban Agriculture Property Alterations.
House Bill 359 is on third reading, final passage. Any discussion? If not, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote, explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 43 votes in the affirmative, House Bill 359, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. Clerk will read the next bill.
House Bill 429, Delegate Boyce, On-Farm Organics Diversion Recycling Grant Program established.
House Bill 429 is on third reading, final passage. Yes, I recognize Senator from District 2.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Speaker. Just had a couple things I was looking at here real quick. Wanted to see if it was all right if we could special order this until tomorrow. Mr. President, sorry about that. Sorry about that.
Oh, good. All right. Senators move to special order the bill at the appropriate time tomorrow. Any objections? Without objection, so ordered. Clerk, read the next bill.
House Bill 586, Delegate Bueller, County Board of Library Trustees Membership Student Member.
House Bill 586 is on third reading, final passage. Any discussion? If not, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote, explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 45 votes in the affirmative, House Bill 586, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. Let's go to 22. 22. Clerk will read the first bill.
House Bill 842, Delegate Griffith, Property Tax Credit, Serving Spouse of Military Service Member.
House Bill 842 is on third reading, final passage. Any discussion? If not, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote, explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 44 votes in the affirmative, House Bill 842, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. Clerk, read the next bill.
House Bill 1096, Delegate Long, Property Tax Credit Notice through Property Tax Bill.
House Bill 1096 is on third reading, final passage. Any discussion? If not, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote, explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 45 votes in the affirmative, House Bill 1096, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. Clerk, read the next bill.
House Bill 1160, Calvert County Delegation, Calvert County, Calvert Health Medical Center.
House Bill 1160 is on third reading, final passage. Any discussion? If not, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote, explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 45 votes in the affirmative, House Bill 1160, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. Clerk will read the next bill.
House Bill 1221, Delegate Foley, Public Safety Short-Term Rental Units, Safety, Jillian and Lindsay Weiner, Short-Term Rental Safety Act.
House Bill 1221 is on third reading, final passage. Any discussion? If not, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote, explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. 44 votes in the affirmative. House Bill 1221, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. Clerk, read the next bill.
House Bill 1369, Delegate Solomon, Department of Budget Management Audit Finance Compliance Unit Establishment.
House Bill 1369 is on third reading. Yes, I recognize the Senator from the 26th
Thank you
District.
very much. So I'll get some answers back on this bill that I'm looking for because I'm considering a number of amendments, but I do want to be clear on what I'm doing. So I'd like to also hold this till tomorrow. And I thank you and the body very much.
All right, Senators, move to special order the bill at the appropriate time tomorrow. Any objections? Without objections, so ordered. Clerk, read the next bill.
House Bill 1513, Calvert County Delegation, Calvert County Public Facilities Bonds.
House Bill 1513 is on third reading, final passage. Any discussion? If not, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President,
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote, explain their vote? If not, the clerk will take the call. With 44 votes in the affirmative, House Bill 1513, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. Clerk will read the next bill.
House Bill 1578, Chair, Government, Labor, and Elections Committee, State Procurement, Procurement Preferences, Reauthorization, and Revisions.
House Bill 1578 is on third reading, final passage. Any discussion? If not, clerk will call the roll.
Mr. President?
Has everyone recorded their vote? Anyone wish to change their vote? Explain their vote. If not, the clerk will take the call. With 40 votes in the affirmative, House Bill 1578, having received a constitutional majority, is declared passed. Let's see. Let's call it there. Let's call it there. We don't have too much left, so we'll leave some stuff for the afternoon. We're looking at, Senator from District 9.
Thank you. I'd like to be recorded in the green on 154.
154 from red to green. Any objections? Without objection, so ordered. Any further changes, issues? All right.
Mr. President?
Yes, Senator from District 8.
HB 1513, I would like to be recorded in the green.
1513 in the green. Senator from District 8. Any objections? Without objection, so ordered. Senator from District 7.
Green on 359.
359 in the green. 359 in the green. Any objections? Without objection, so ordered. All right, we're looking at 5 p.m. 5 p.m. for second session today. 5 p.m. So a couple hours and work through any lingering issues. Recognize the Chair of Finance.
Thank you, Mr. President. Finance is going to meet at 2:15 for voting.
2:15 for Finance. Education, Energy, and the Environment.
Okay, to be consistent, Triple E will meet at 2:15 for a couple short bill hearings, followed immediately by a voting session. Thank you, Mr. President. 2:15.
2:15. Budget and Tax.
Consistency isn't everything. Let's go with 145.
145. Jumping the gun. 145. Judicial Proceedings.
130.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. We're going to go ahead and meet at 2:30 for a bill hearing and then voting.
2:30 in Judicial Proceedings. Standing committees, select committees, caucuses, delegations. Vote change looks like Senator from District 4.
Thank you, Mr. President. If I could be recorded on HB 1578 in the green.
1578 in the green. Any objections? Without objection, so ordered.
Correction, I'm sorry, from green to red.
Green to red.
Green to red, 1578.
1517, green to red. Any objections? Without objection, so ordered. Senator from the 43rd.
Thank you, Mr. President. For the Baltimore City delegation, we have two bills where there have been significant amendments. So I'm going to distribute them to you, and so TB for a meeting, for a voting session, either sometime today or first thing tomorrow morning.
Excellent. Thank you, Senator. Any further announcements for the good of the order? All right. Anything for the good of the order? If not, let's do a quorum call.
Mr. President?
Has everyone recorded their presence? So the clerk will take the call. With 43 members in the chamber and a quorum being present, Senator Maryland remains in session, recognizing the Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move the Senate of Maryland stand adjourned until 5 p.m. this afternoon.
5 p.m. this afternoon, without objection, so ordered. We will keep the chamber secured, so in between the two sessions. See you then. Stay safe, everyone.